Make sure you download the Woodward Sports app in the App Store and the Google Play Store today. Take Woodward Sports with you wherever you go and listen live on your phone or mobile device.
Good morning, everyone, and thanks for joining us here on the Morning Woodward Show on the Woodward Sports Network, also featured on The Roar on 99.1, 93.5, and 94.7 HD2. Good morning, guys. Happy Turtleneck Tuesday.
Turtleneck Tuesday, I know.
I gotta zip
You're letting us down. It's okay.
I can't do it every freaking Tuesday. I mean, come on.
Hey, it was your idea, so.
I know.
I like turtleneck, Adam. He comes out spicy.
He does. Whenever Adam's wearing a turtleneck,
but I need to, like, I need to organize the closet.
Yeah.
I need to have, like, multiple variations of different turtlenecks. That way I'm not wearing the same damn one every other week.
It's like 15 white ones in there.
Yeah. We'll see. Maybe I'll just buy 15 white turtlenecks and I'll wear them for 3 straight weeks.
15 of the same
you need
pants.
a black turtleneck with a gold chain, and you'll be good.
Oh, yeah. You need a gold chain.
That is definitely coming up next.
Yeah.
I can get you hooked up with that.
Well, you know what? Speaking of guys who maybe aren't wearing gold chains, but likely a gold jacket in the future after his win on Sunday, Matthew Stafford, I think obviously the most polarizing figure right now, really in sports media. Where does he rank? My question this morning is, where does he rank all time? And this is very difficult for me because I struggle always with this conversation.
Yeah.
Because the guy is still playing.
That's it.
I mean, this isn't a guy we're talking, has 1 year left, 2 years left, and, he's kind of past his prime. Guy is, essentially probably on the tail end of his prime, still got 2, 3, 4 years left of really good football. But where does he rank? Is he top 25? Top 20, top 15, top 10. For me, I looked at the list, and I got to be respectful to the guys that played in any era.
Yep.
Richard Sherman came out yesterday and said, Matthew Stafford just so happened to play in the most pass-friendly league of all time. That is absolutely fair to say, which is why I'll judge him based on those numbers. And when I evaluate a quarterback like Roger Staubach, well, you know what? I'm not going to take into account that he doesn't have as many yards as Stafford. I don't think that's fair. Terry Bradshaw. When we talk about some of these guys, you have to evaluate them at the time they were playing. You have to evaluate them that way. And I think it's a great conversation. I'll start with where I think he is. I think he's top 20 right now.
Yeah, that's right.
He's not in the top 10. I don't want to hear that this morning.
No.
It's too much. It's too much because he's still playing.
Yeah.
I am willing to put him over Phillip Rivers. Hell, I'll put him over Eli Manning. And likely Ben Roethlisberger, but honestly, then you're call out my bias because clearly I don't like Big Ben, but that's a whole different story for another day. I think he's a top 20 quarterback right now. I think he's entered that conversation. He's already got the gold jacket lined up. I think you're ignorant if you're not willing to admit or see that. Now, having said that, you want to have a conversation, Jeff. Will he be in the top 10 by the time his career is over? Now, that's a conversation. But I'm going to say top 20 right now.
Yeah, I would agree with you. Honestly, I went through 15 quarterbacks before I even thought of Stafford. So, yeah, around top 20. Right now, the interesting question is he does have still plenty of time, plenty of years. The question is, and I've always had this with Stafford, throughout his 12 years in Detroit, you can never blame him for the, lack of success or lack thereof in Detroit. But what I could say is a tough argument is you look at these top 10, top 15 quarterbacks, you can say he was the best quarterback. I can name years where these guys were the best quarterback in the league, playing the best. Matthews really had his first year this year with the Rams where you can look at him and say, yeah, he probably was the best quarterback statistically. He might have led the league in interceptions, but just in terms of his play, and like you said, plenty of years left in LA. So it's really what he does in LA. That's the biggest question because the past 12 years, it is tough. Like everyone wants the accolades. I don't care that he was only one-time Pro Bowl. I mean, he's in Detroit. You're not winning games. So clearly that's not going to add up. But the All-Pros, the MVPs, those types of awards, he has plenty of years to pile on. So my question would be, he's Super Bowl champion. Cooper Kupp was obviously MVP, but still Super Bowl champion. He has all the statistics. He's top 10 in passing yards, passing touchdowns, all that. So he's got the statistics. My question is can he throw an MVP up there? Can he throw an All-Pro up there and be the best quarterback in the league for a long period of time? Because he was this year, but what is he next year? And, we'll find out.
I find it interesting because when it's convenient to our argument or the point we're trying to make, it's a team game, right? And when we're ranking quarterbacks, it is fair to say, yeah, individually, what did you accomplish? But I could argue the guys at 50,000 yards, fastest to 30K, fastest to 40K.
You can't use it both ways.
I mean, I like to evaluate it in one way. The guy is still playing.
Yeah.
I am not willing to put him into the 15, the 10, the 5s. I mean, I think that's a bit ridiculous. He's not a Brady. And may I remind you, he only has one Super Bowl. Peyton was dragged to the Super Bowl. He couldn't even throw a football his final year in Denver when they won it. So context matters. And I think the biggest takeaway I have when I look at it, and look, realistically, if you're going to be objective with me, and let's say he plays 4 more seasons, then he will likely finish his career with 70,000 yards, 500 touchdowns. That's, not only a first ballot Hall of Famer. I mean, those are numbers not many put up.
Mm-hmm. Now he has
and when we talk about not only that, you have to consider the story. Narratives matter. Tom Brady is the elite of the elite. Nobody can ever touch him. He's number 1. Montana 2, I don't mind it. And this, I believe, is from NFL.com. Number 3, Peyton Manning, I have no problem with that. Now, this is where things get interesting. Otto Graham, Johnny Unitas, Roger Staubach. Okay, fine. But what's the difference? May I ask all of you at home, and please answer this. What is the difference between Matthew Stafford and Drew Brees? Matthew Stafford and Dan Marino? Matthew Stafford has the same numbers, if not better than Marino, just without one singular MVP.
Yeah, the numbers are a little skewed.
Dan Marino has one thing on Matthew Stafford, and that is an individual award.
Yeah.
Drew Brees doesn't have an MVP. And if you go back, and I know what you guys are going to tell me, look at the Pro Bowls, Adam, look at the All-Pros. Okay, that is a fair thing to say. It is also a fair thing of me to say, go look at his numbers those years where he wasn't a Pro Bowl.
Yeah, Pro Bowl.
He had Pro Bowl numbers. He had better numbers than the guys that were listed on the Pro Bowl teams. So you want to play both sides, you got to listen to the other side. And I'm willing to listen to 3 Pro Bowls, 0 MVPs, fine. I think that's fair, especially if you want to bring him into the top 5 conversation. I'm not going to do that. But I think he's better than Roethlisberger. I think he's better than Eli. Sammy Baugh, I don't even know who the hell he is. So that's too much for me. Terry Bradshaw was one of the more dominant quarterbacks in his era, so I have to be fair to that. And again, Matthew Stafford is still playing. So for me, I think top 20 is fair. I don't think it's egregious. I don't think it's bold. I don't think it's anything, oh my goodness, break the internet. I'm not saying he's a top 10 quarterback, but the guy's got 4 or 5 years left if he wanted to. He's only 33 years old. If I told you he retired at 40, he likely breaks Brady's records. Well, maybe not Brady's, but Breeze's at least.
Yeah.
He'll be number 2, number 3, minimum top 5 in every major quarterback category by the time he finishes.
And if he can get an MVP award on top of this, like Super Bowl champion, he'll be an MVP.
I mean, what's the difference between him and Aaron? The same amount of rings. And again, Aaron Rodgers is the quarterback that you guys tell me is so gifted, so talented, because he doesn't throw interceptions. Aaron Rodgers is the only quarterback in my lifetime, not only lifetime, in NFL history, to have the touchdown to interception ratio he has.
So spectacular.
He is not only an anomaly, but could I argue he's too conservative of a quarterback?
Of course, yes.
And that's why they weren't able to score, I don't know, a touchdown at Lambeau Field against the Niners? And he's 0-4 in the postseason against the Niners? And I believe heading into the 2021 season, Aaron Rodgers was 0-42 when trailing against winning teams in the fourth quarter.
And he's had 15 years with a stable organization. So there's the difference.
He's 11-10 in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Matthew Stafford is 4-3. What's the difference? Aaron Rodgers for 13 years in Green Bay, beyond stable. Always had good teams. Towards the tail end of it, they had very good teams. What is the difference between the guy, number 9, forget the Detroit allegiance? Honestly, I could care less. I could care less. And don't bring up, he threw 2 interceptions in the Super Bowl.
That's such a lazy
Because Tom
argument.
Brady threw 2 interceptions in a winning Super Bowl. Like, everybody wants to forget, right? That Tom Brady threw multiple interceptions against Atlanta. Granted, he had one of the greater comebacks. But you guys always tell me, like, well, what about the earlier part of the game? Well, no, he led them back and he delivered when he had to.
Yeah.
He could have easily not led them on the game-winning drive. Overtime.
Imagine if Tom Brady led that 15-play drive at the end of the game and scored.
And Stafford could have easily thrown an interception on the final drive of the Super Bowl. He didn't.
Yeah.
Whether you like the defensive holding call or not, I don't care. You know who else had the ball in that Super Bowl? Joe Burrow with a minute 25.
And they had 3 chances to get 1
yard. And
yard.
if Joe Burrow goes down, well, we're not having this conversation, are we?
So I had this debate the other day with my buddy. Actually, it was last night through text, and he brought up the interception thing because that's, like, hey, man, he threw 2 interceptions. Like, after that hot start, Stafford was kind of rough there for a patch until the last drive. So he bookended it really well. But Tom Brady was in 10 Super Bowls. He's thrown 6 interceptions in 10.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Which is crazy impressive.
And I think that's fair. But this whole postseason, going into the Super Bowl, the kid only threw 1 interception. Guy only had 1 interception. It was basically similar to the one he threw to Van Jefferson in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And again, in the 4th quarter, may I add, please listen to me. All season long, regular season and postseason, Matthew Stafford had the highest PFF grade, 91.5 in the NFL in the 4th quarter. 14 touchdowns, 0 interceptions.
Yeah.
He didn't throw a single interception in the 4th quarter of the season. Don't bring up the interception argument. Is it inconvenient to throw interceptions? Yes, it is. But you want to bring up Tom Brady's most successful year, I could argue, where he threw 50 touchdowns, won the Super Bowl, regular and postseason combined. He had 17 interceptions that season. Don't bring it up just because it's convenient. We do need to go to break. When we get back, the Pistons played last night. My goodness, I'm ready to pull my hair out. I have a bat at home already reserved. You guys know it, for Jeremy Grant. Another performance of why the hell they should have traded him before the trade deadline. But hey, right? Trust in Troy. Trust in Troy. Maybe Troy is intentionally trying to lose, and that's why he kept him. I guess that's the only way I could justify that move. And then the Wings obviously played last night. We'll get to that as well. But Maddie?
Before we go to break, we do need to hear about Gypsy Vodka, please.
All right, guys. Gypsy Vodka, not only the best, but smoothest tasting vodka on the market. Gypsy Vodka, locally owned and operated up in Petoskey, Michigan. Great people. And I can't stress this enough. It is definitely one of my favorite drinks. And I'm one of those basic people. Cranberry mixed with vodka, or I just drink it straight. Yes, I'm that basic. Excuse me. Educate me on how else I should drink it. Please, I am willing to listen. But regardless of the point, ask for it by the name of Gypsy. And as always, please do drink responsibly.
Hi, I'm Cade Cunningham. I'm proud to partner with HOF Financial, the mortgage company known for 5-star service. Don't just take my word for it. Check out their 5,000 5-star reviews for yourself. Go to callhoffirst.com and get started with your 5-star experience today.
Fellas, football season is here. It's time to make your grooming experience easy like Sunday morning. Get to Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Walk in, relax, watch your favorite team play, and before you know it, your hair will be game ready. Get to Lady Jane's, open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in any...
Your Detroit alternative to the normal sports blah, blah, blah. It's Woodward Sports.
Welcome back. Thanks for joining us here on the Morning Woodward Show on the Woodward Sports Network. Detroit took 2 losses last night. We'll start with the Pistons. Jeff, what did you think about their performance last night?
It was rough. I mean, 8 straight losses at this point now, and we've known this throughout the entirety of the season. The Pistons are very bad on the road, if you could not tell already. 4-25 now on the road, and they're facing a Washington Wizards team who was already out with Bradley Beal. Didn't have him. I think he's out for the season. Didn't have Porzingis yet because of the trade. He's not officially able to play. And they lost Hachimura early because he stepped on Marvin Bagley's ankle. So they were really missing 3 of one of their most important players. They had Kyle Kuzma, of course, which he had a great game. But there was no really excuse for the Pistons to lose this game. I mean, you saw Cade come out, and he still doesn't look necessarily yet to form since his hip pointer injury. But in terms of Marvin Bagley, I thought he had a nice debut. 10 points, 8 rebounds. I mean, he brings what this team lacked, and we've talked about this before, that size and a good post presence, and a guy you can really use in the pick and roll, and a guy that also has to work on his free throw shooting. He was 2 for 6, but he's still getting better. I mean, the Marvin Bagley trade, I'm going to have to give him more time because first game didn't play too bad, and Cade wasn't necessarily himself. Sadiq was the only one that was playing well. You talk about Jeremy Grant and the things he brings to the table. Had a great 14 points, 4 for 10 2 for 3 from 3. He was really one of the only guys that had a neutral plus-minus. So I'm not going to sit up here and say Jeremy Grant was the reason why we lost, but I will say this. Killian Hayes, we got to talk. We got to talk. 0 for 5 from the field. He had the lowest plus-minus on the team, minus 14. And it does disappoint me a little bit. I mean, you're hoping to see those moments out of Killian, especially coming off the bench now. Like, this is his opportunity to shine more, and you've seen it in games. He almost had a double-double a couple nights ago, and then he comes out tonight and drops a donut. So sometimes you really don't know what to expect. But with this Pistons team on the road, it was a tight game. Third quarter, they give up 37 points. And this team just doesn't have the ability to get back into ball games like that. So they need teams that play at their pace. And they faced the Washington Wizards team last night who had some former Pistons on there, Caldwell Popish, Smith. And they took it to him last night. I mean, that's really it is what it is. I want to sit here and blame Dwayne Casey, but at the same time, it was a bad effort all last night. The guys didn't look like up to par, and 8 straight loss. You're 4-25 on the road. This is what it is, man. I mean, on the season, you're 12-45. I mean, this team is heading to the number 1 overall pick, and hopefully they could make some changes next season because it's getting ugly. It's getting very ugly.
I don't know. I mean, I thought last night was a perfect example. I'm so glad they gave Jeremy Grant 30-plus minutes. What a superstar. This guy is as much of a bum as Russell Westbrook, to be honest with you. I mean, this is ridiculous. 32 minutes. He only took 10 shots, made 4 of them, 14 points, 3 turnovers, 1 rebound, 0 assists.
Oh, God. He just doesn't bring anything.
You can't have 4 ball handlers on the court. I don't know if people have figured this out yet, but there is one basketball. There is one basketball. At any given moment during a basketball game. I'm going to say this one more time, because I really think Dwayne Casey doesn't understand this. There is only one basketball on the court at any given moment during the game. Okay, now that we've established that, your starting lineup is 2 point guards, 2 small forwards, and a center. Corey Joseph, Cade Cunningham, Saddiq Bey, Jeremy Grant. 4 people that can all handle the rock, take it up the court. Wow, that is brilliant. Along with Killian Hayes on the bench, Amadou Diallo. Like, the lineup to me that makes more sense to start the game last night is Cade Cunningham, Diallo, Bey, Stewart, and Grant. Fine, whatever, I'll deal with the guy. But what the hell is the point of having Corey Joseph out there?
Yeah,
what does he offer outside of he dribbles around, he runs around like a... I'm really, really frustrated with the Pistons right now. Look, I get their quote-unquote tanking. I know it's a rebuild. I have no problem with that. You can't look this bad with that young core.
Yeah.
You got to learn how to play basketball eventually.
Yeah.
You can't just suck. They suck. It's not fun to watch. You're not learning something new about individual players. Killian Hayes, 0 points. Oh, my God. 0 for 5 from the field, 3 assists, 1 rebound. And usually I defend the guy because of his defensive play, 0 blocks, 0 steals. They couldn't beat the Washington Wizards backups last night.
Yeah.
I mean, this team doesn't have a way of playing the game of basketball.
No.
And it's because it's too much iso ball. They don't have a reliable pick-and-roll threat. Yes, Marvin Bagley is supposedly supposed to be that. But that's irrelevant for this basketball team. You have, at any moment, up to 4 ball handlers on the court. And none of them are superstars. We're talking Jeremy Grant, at best, a number 3 on a good team.
Yeah.
Saddiq Bey, for me, should be the catch-and-shoot guy.
Which he does very well. Yeah. I mean,
and then Cade Cunningham, clearly your star player. What the hell, man?
No, it's bad. I mean, watching last night, you noticed the difference right away. You're watching a really well-coached Washington Wizards team move the ball around the perimeter. I think everybody touched the ball on the floor before someone took a shot, and then you seen the Pistons get the rebound, come down the floor, and then it was either immediate pull-up or like 2-pass pull-up. Like they're very different offenses. Like we need to. If you could take something from the Wizards last night, they shot nearly 50% from the field, and you saw exactly why. They were moving the ball, and the Pistons defensively haven't been very good. And if you can't defend and you can't score at will, then who are you beating in the NBA? It's nearly impossible. You got teams that can do both. So with the Washington Wizards, they faced a team that, we're missing some very important players, but they're just well coached. And that's what happens in the NBA. If you're a great coach, you can get the best out of your players. And it seems like last night it just wasn't the case for the Pistons. A lot of guys struggled last night despite having Cade Cunningham. So they got a lot of things they got to work on.
I could send out a team full of middle schoolers, and they could play more competent basketball than the Detroit Pistons right now. I'm not joking.
At least they'd be fundamental.
They don't do anything. They don't even run an actual offense. No. Dwayne Casey, when he's holding that damn clipboard, hey, guys, I don't know.
Good luck.
Good luck. Go out there. Hey, Jeremy, why don't you run ISO? And we'll figure it out from there, buddy.
Yeah. Pistons fan put it perfectly. One guy ISOs while the other four stand around and watch.
It's unbelievable.
Like, that's, yeah.
It's unbelievable.
That's a good point.
Look, let's move on to a team I am much more happy to talk about in the city, the Detroit Red Wings. They lost to the Minnesota Wild 7-4 last night. They damn near made the comeback. Lucas Raymond got on the board. I want to start with Lucas Raymond before we get into the game. He got a power play goal. Nice snipe. I mean, that's kind of what you expect from the kid. He started off the season red hot.
I know.
9 goals, I believe, in his first, 24, 25 games.
The point machine, both ends.
Mm-hmm. He's definitely a point machine.
But goal scorer.
But the goal scoring was at such a profound rate.
Yeah.
You thought this was a 30-goal guy this year. And I believe from November 26th up until January 3rd, he hadn't scored a goal.
Mm.
He had gone well over a month without scoring. And he's just now, starting to get his groove back. But boy, the kid could use some confidence. A 2-goal night, maybe another hat trick, something. He needs to be way more productive from a goal scoring standpoint. Maybe Verona coming back will help all of that.
Yeah.
But Jesus Christ, 13 goals now. We're well more than halfway into the season. I would like to see him finish at 20. But can he get 7 more at the rate he's been at? I don't know. I'd like to see him more than 20 year one. 23, 24, 25 would be great.
I think he's still trying to figure out how he's going to play, though.
Yeah, he's a small guy.
Because he's so small.
Yeah, if you ever go to LCA and watch them play, he is small. He's pushed around a lot.
And I think that's gotten in his head a little bit. A little bit. I think he needs to have more. I've said this before. I think he needs to have more of like the Datsuk mindset. He's got to play like Datsuk because he's so small.
Yeah, he's got to outthink everybody. He needs to skate better than everybody. And look, he's a rookie. He's 19 years old.
Yeah.
I'm not even worried. I love the kid. But damn, 4 goals in a 35, 45 day stretch? You had none for a little over a month before the new year. Yeah, I don't want to see him slumping towards the end of the season. Lucas will be just fine. I'm not worried. But damn it, 13 goals now. Would like to see him finish somewhere between 22 and 25. That would be ideal. But let's talk about the game, Jeff. The Wings actually look pretty decent on the power play. They got a lot of opportunities. I mean, just defensively, they broke down.
Yeah, they did. They did a whole lot. And one thing I do want to point out is Dylan Larkin. You mentioned 25 goals. Dylan Larkin is the 3rd Red Wings player in the last 25 years with 25 goals and 25 assists in the team's first 50 games. The other 2, Henrik Zetterberg in 2007-2008 and Brendan Shanahan in 1996-97. So shout out to Dylan Larkin having a hell of a season. But yeah, back to Lucas Raymond and the Red Wings. Last night, you saw it. Like the first period, very competitive first period from both teams. I mean, if you're watching the game, it ended 2-2, so you could take it. The second period and third period is when things turned. And the Red Wings didn't show up in the second period. They gave up another 2 goals. They were averaging 2 goals a period they were giving up, and they ended up giving up 7 goals. So defensively, yes, there was plenty of things they need to work on. And Jakob Vrana coming back, is that going to help on the defensive side of things? They got a lot more questions. But to me, you saw some positives last night. You obviously saw Lucas Raymond get a goal back, Sider with the 2 points. You got Larkin with another 2 points, and then Gustav Lindstrom coming out there and getting a goal. So you're able to see some, especially things offensively, but defensively, man, I feel like it's the same things we're talking about. Like especially late in the game or just in general, giving up 6+ goals. It is a problem. And will they fix it? Yes, they will. But as of right now, it is concerning. You're facing a team, Minnesota Wild, who is the 2nd in the Western Conference. So they're a very good team. But 7 goals to given up by the Wings. I mean, we've seen this before. It doesn't have to be to the Minnesota Wild. Defensively, they have issues.
We can agree. Mo Sider, I think, is the clear runaway favorite right now for the Calder.
He's out there battling.
Award.
He's battling. Yeah.
It's not even a thing. I mean, love Raymond.
Yeah.
Leads the league in terms of rookies with points. Great. Sider, clearly the best hockey player most nights, and he's a rookie. I mean, he's unbelievable. He is unbelievable. Only the Red Wings could have Nicholas Lidstrom.
Yeah.
You go through a down period, and potentially have another version of him, except a lot more physical.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. God bless you, Steve Yzerman. You are helping me cope with the Fords and Troy Weaver right now. I hope you know that. Thank you, Steve. I'll send you a gift basket, I promise.
I swear. It's gonna be the Red Wings now, and then it's gonna be the Tigers, hopefully, with baseball back.
If there's
getting us
baseball,
through these. Yeah. Getting us through these hard
There
times.
will be
punks.
baseball. There'll be baseball.
You say that, Fish.
Fish, you say that. You say it with
There will
confidence.
be, yes, because there'll be baseball. It happens in every sport where they're negotiating. Hard negotiations. There'll be baseball.
Fish,
Everyone
I'll
will be
offer
fine.
you as a sacrifice.
My life?
Yeah.
Okay.
He goes, my life.
That way we can have baseball. Are you okay with that?
So what date? If they have no baseball by what, April 1st?
No, we'll say March 15th. If they don't have baseball, I'm going to offer you as a sacrifice. You okay with that?
But we get baseball for the whole season.
Yeah,
I mean,
so you got to take one for the team.
But does that mean I'm dead or just, like, injured?
I mean, think about it this way. You're going to have an apple in your mouth, and you're going to be hung from a stake, and they're going to turn you like a pig. So, yeah, you'll probably be dead.
Okay.
We are not.
Are you okay with that?
Well, March 15th, I mean, in the middle of March Madness, so,
Okay, maybe I'll let you watch the Final Four, and then I'll kill you.
Oh, that's nice. Oh, April. Okay.
Yeah, that's nice of him.
I'm
You're
a
kind
gentleman.
of screwing yourself, though, because if they have a season by April, then what do you do?
Well, then
They're
I don't
still
kill
gonna-
you. Then you stick around and you do the morning show with us.
Oh, no. Okay. We're probably going to do it anyway, so.
All right, we got to go to break. Maddie, when we get back, why the Detroit Lions should not draft Kyle Hamilton. I have been on this for, what, a month and a half now? 2 months?
Yeah.
I mean,
We've been just pounding this on the table.
I hope you watched the NFL playoffs the way I did.
Yeah.
I am so excited for this conversation. I really am.
All right. Well, we got to go to break, but when we come back, I'm sorry, not when we come back, before we go, we need to talk about my bookie.
Guys, MyBookie, the place where you should be betting this March Madness. It's less than 15 days away. Well, not 15, less than a month away. We're almost there. College basketball season coming to an end. I know football season's over. It's all good. You still have your daily NHL prop bets. You still have your NBA bets going on. And, of course, March Madness coming up. Bet from anywhere, anytime using MyBookie. Sign up today using code Woodward. They'll match you dollar for dollar. You put in $100, they'll match you $100. You put in $200, they'll match you for $200. Guys, take advantage of the code Woodward. Again, that's code Woodward. We'll see you after the break. But, of course, please, if you do have a gambling problem, call 1-800-270-7117.
Hi, my diamonds. It's Crystal with an X. You want to get hot and perfect like me? Here's my super easy routine. Drink at least a gallon of water before you wake up. Attach a weight to everything in your house. Hello? Sell your car and just sprint everywhere. Scream when you exhale.
Don't follow Crystal with an X. Do your own thing at Planet Fitness with tons of equipment and free fitness training in our clean and spacious clubs. Join now for just $10 a month and cancel anytime.
Comerica Park, sunshine, the crack of the bat. More sunshine, warmth. We're almost there, Detroit. Summer 2022 will be the summer of Woodward sports. We just gotta make it through this damn cold first.
Thanks for joining us here on the Morning Woodward Show on the Woodward Sports Network. Adam, I know you really want to talk about this conversation.
Yeah, I mean,
So
I
let us
am
know.
tired of the Kyle Hamilton conversation at 2.
Yeah.
And again, at 2. Adam, what's the difference between 4 spots? A lot. Financial, contract implications. Jalen Ramsey was what, the number 5 overall pick, I believe? Number 6? How'd he do on Super Bowl Sunday, huh? Hell, he almost cost them the whole game on the last play of the game. Jamar Chase was wide open, but of course, Joe Burrow couldn't find him. Do you guys know why Joe Burrow couldn't make that throw and go through his progressions and hit Jamar Chase, who was wide open downfield on the final play of the game? Anybody remember what happened on that final play? Any takers? Anybody?
I think I know.
Oh, Aaron Donald got to the quarterback. What position does Aaron Donald play? Oh, he plays on the defensive line. Ah, I forgot, didn't I? Yeah. How did safeties do all postseason? Oh, wait, we didn't talk about them. How did the corners do all postseason in the playoffs? Oh, they didn't make any impact. Eli Apple was talking mad game. Because what? He, quote-unquote, shut down Tyreek Hill? Oh, my goodness, people. Oh, my goodness. We are a funny bunch. Drafting Kyle Hamilton at number 2 is probably one of, if not the biggest mistakes the Lions could ever make, and they've made a ton of them. Learn from the Okudah pick. It's that simple. Watch successful teams. Why were the Bengals in the Super Bowl? Not just because of the quarterback, because of Trey Hendrickson. Why were the Rams in the Super Bowl? Not just because of the quarterback, because of that defensive line, Von Miller, Aaron Donald.
Yeah.
You build and win football games in the trenches. You can't preach it to me about the offensive line and then you ignore the defensive line. You can't do that. You cannot do that at all. When we talk about the number 2 overall pick, it better be one of the edge rushers. Or look, if you trade back and there's a team willing to give you 2 top 10 picks, be my guest.
Yeah.
But that scenario is not on the table right now. I am not going to talk about a possible trade that we may not know will even happen up until days maybe before or the day of the draft. Right now at number 2 overall, there are 2 players you do not touch. Kyle Hamilton, Malik Willis. It's that simple. Now, Brad Holmes does have the luxury of, hey, if he goes out and takes a quarterback, will I sit up here and massacre him? I mean, no. He's earned, I believe, the trust you should give somebody in his position. Having said that, the clear play here is you build the team in the trenches.
Yeah.
Stop wasting your time. Guys, do I have to remind you how fun this football team was to watch when you had Cliff Averill, Ezekiel Ansah, you were able to pressure the opposing team's quarterback. And again, let's say you don't have a good secondary. What is the number 1 way you can cover it all up? A good pass rush.
Mm-hmm.
You go for the edge rusher. Kyle Hamilton, he's got it all. He's got the length, sideline to sideline. He can cover it all. Great. He is one player whose job is dictated by the quarterback. He doesn't dictate a damn thing.
Yeah.
The quarterback takes him with his eyes. You saw Matthew Stafford do it. Mahomes do it. Brady do it. All postseason. Quarterbacks determine who is successful. The only counter to a very good quarterback is an edge rush. Don't believe me? Ask the Giants. They won 2 Super Bowls because of it.
Mm-hmm.
Kyle Hamilton at number 2, Jeff. Hell no.
No, and I'll give you more teams. Ask the Bengals, because you saw it in the Chiefs game. Who ended that game for him and helped them finish it out? Trey Hendrickson. Had a loss, tackled Patrick Mahomes like 15 feet back, and incredible tackle for loss. So it's Trey Hendrickson. And then you look at the Super Bowl, Aaron Donald. Look at the NFC Championship, Aaron Donald. Pass rushers, yes, you do need a quarterback that can finish the game for you, but pass rushers are ideal. And I'm going to name you off 3 of my favorite safeties in the NFL and where they were selected. Because if you look at Minkah Fitzpatrick, one of my favorite safeties in the NFL, he was the highest out of these 3 I'm about to name. He was drafted 13th overall, and you know what he is today, one of the best safeties in the NFL. Budda Baker, another guy, 2nd round, 36th overall. You can find these guys. Tyrann Mathieu, 3rd round. Prospect, I get it. Easy asked me this the other day, and it was an interesting question. He said, out of the 3 prospects, Kayvon Thibodeau, Aiden Hutchinson, or Kyle Hamilton, who would you bet on being all-pro? And I looked him in the face, and I was like, well, probably Kyle Hamilton. But you're looking at number 2. And number 2, to me, you're going to need a guy that not only can dominate a game and take over a game, and as great as Kyle Hamilton is, in my opinion, at number 2, getting a guy like Aiden Hutchinson or Kayvon Thibodeau, a game wrecker, a game changer, is only going to help your team no matter where it is and what part of the rebuild it's in. You saw it. The Bengals, the Rams, both teams in the Super Bowl have a pass rush. You've seen it when Tennessee Titans, as bad as they were playing offensively, they sacked Joe 9 times, and he didn't throw a touchdown pass. They had a chance to win because of their defensive line. So I don't want to hear anything about, trying to minimize defensive lines because it's so important. You saw it, the Bucs last year against the Chiefs. Like, I can go on and on. So to me, the clear answer is you draft a pass rusher, number 2 overall. I don't want to hear anything about, unless Kyle Hamilton, you trade back to 4 or 5, whatever it is, then maybe I'll consider it at that point. He is a very good prospect. I will give you that. But in terms of value at the number 2 position, I'm more comfortable drafting a Kayvon or Aiden. That's the bottom line for me. If it is a quarterback or Kyle Hamilton, we're going to have to talk about it. But Kyle Hamilton at 2 is a reach to me, even though you might think of him as a higher prospect in terms of just value.
Let's say he's an amazing player.
Yeah.
What does that mean for your football team? Can any of you answer that? No, you can't. It means nothing. I have the answer. Nothing. You're not going to win 2 games this year because of Kyle Hamilton. He's not going to get to the quarterback and force him to make an errant throw. If you allow a quarterback to drop back in zone, let me rephrase this. If you allow any competent quarterback, any above average quarterback to drop back and play against your zone scheme, man to man, they will pick you apart. You don't believe me? Ask the freaking Cincinnati Bengals. They could not get to Matthew Stafford on the final drive. They played zone, and you know what he did? He fooled every single one of them with his eyes.
Yeah.
Don't believe me? Look at the last 3 seasons. Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen. How do you stop them? You get to them. You get to the quarterback. You get to the quarterback. And look at today's NFL. How do interceptions, how do they occur?
Because either someone's in their face being pressured or it's a tipped ball.
Either it's a quarterback pressure.
Yeah.
More times than not. Or it's a Hail Mary throw. If you think that's a game-changing play, like, I don't know, the Matthew Stafford interception in the Super Bowl where he chucked it 55 yards downfield, same as a punt. But regardless, if you think that's worth drafting a safety at number 2, go for it. You'll always be the Lions. You need an edge rusher. It's that simple for me.
Can I ask you something? You were out of the room when I was asking. It's a very interesting question, and I think listen with Easy, because you didn't hear me. Easy asked me this question the other day, and I would love your opinion because I didn't know how to answer it. He asked me, out of all the 3 players, you have Kayvon Thibodeau, Aiden Hutchinson, and Kyle Hamilton. Which of those 3 would you bet on being All-Pro? And that's the interesting question.
Aiden Hutchinson.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he has the highest motor. He has a higher motor than Kayvon Thibodeau.
So you think
I think Kayvon Thibodeau, again, I can only read reports.
Yeah.
Seems like a pretty arrogant dude.
Yeah.
Rubs people the wrong way. I think when you look at Aiden Hutchinson, I get a guy similar to TJ Watt. I'm getting high motor. Yeah, he doesn't have the most skill set, the highest ceiling coming out of college. But you know, I bet every single one of those teams that passed on him, 29 of them to be exact, would have loved to take in TJ Watt in that draft.
So you think he'd be probably the most likely to be All-Pro over Kyle and
absolutely.
Kayvon?
I mean, Kyle Hamilton, at his position, there's not much competition. So maybe, but who gives a crap if you're All-Pro?
Yeah.
I don't care. How many All-Pro players didn't get to the Super Bowl? How many All-Pro players didn't get to the AFC or NFC Championship game? It's irrelevant. The NFL is now a simple league. It's broken down into 5 ways. You need to have the GM and head coach. You need to have a quarterback. You need to protect the quarterback. You need to get to the opposing team's quarterback. And you need to have skill players on the offensive side of the ball.
Both Super Bowl teams have that.
That's the NFL today.
Yeah.
If this was 2003, I would tell you draft Kyle Hamilton. Go for it. Ed Reed, Sean Taylor. I don't give a crap. But he better be that if you're going to take him at number 2. Yeah. Sorry, those are the expectations. And when I take Thibodeau, Hutchinson, doesn't matter which edge rusher at number 2, I'll be able to evaluate him right away. How many quarterback pressures? How many quarterback hits? How many sacks?
Yeah.
You will be able to consistently attribute his value to the team's football success every single year. It's not a conversation for me. I'm not entertaining Kyle Hamilton at number 2, a safety. A safety. You might as well move Jeff Okudah to safety at this point.
Yeah, I mean,
you had AJ Parker. You had Iffy. You had guys step up this year under Aaron Glenn. The hell you need to worry about your secondary.
And we can agree.
Get to the quarterback.
We can agree.
If anything, your secondary was the bright spot this year. Shockingly. Shockingly. You need a pass rush. Yes, you have a Quara. You have some nice pieces. You have a Trey Flowers, even though I think they cut him after June 1st. Draft an edge rusher. I really couldn't be more clear on it. And even if the Jags take Hutchinson, even if they take Thibodeau, you're not passing on one of the edge rushers at number 2. You aren't.
Yeah.
You just aren't. And do I believe there's going to be a table on the offer, an FU offer, where you would be stupid not to take it? No, I don't think so. You know why? Because this isn't the quarterback class of last year or the year before, where teams are willing to give up 2 future first-round picks to move up 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 spots. That's not this year. For me, Jeff, it's an edge rusher.
Yeah, and I think the whole point of this whole argument for people that are listening is the fact of the matter is, in my opinion, drafting a safety is a luxury. You get those guys to ice off your defense. Pass rushers, this is how you build your defense.
Yeah, I'm going to agree. I'm going to agree with Funky in the chat. Yeah, fine. Yes. They should be held to that standard.
But more.
I'm not taking an edge rusher at 2 for him to turn out like Trey Flowers? No, obviously not. But who has more impact on an NFL field in today's NFL? An edge rusher or a safety? Simple question.
Mm-hmm.
It's an edge rusher. Whether it's Hutchinson, Thibodeau, I don't care. They both need to be great, whoever you select. Whoever you select at number 2 needs to be immediately almost an all-pro at his position for you within the first 2 years. I just so happen to think it should be an edge rusher.
That's why I'm sticking with Aiden Hutchinson. I think we both agree there. So anybody who thinks Hamilton, you got to call in one time. We got to talk about it. But
all right,
we'll settle with that.
All right. I we have 3 minutes, so I'm going to deviate just a little bit because there's somebody in the chat very special to me. Dace Jr. Y'all keep bringing up Caldwell. I'm assuming he's referring to the chat. Well, he wasn't good, and before you bash me saying that, tell me who he's coaching now. I'm not sure what the hell that means. Guys, can we stop talking about Caldwell? That's like a deliberate... That's an easy way to get banned in the chat on the morning show. Don't bring up Caldwell, please. Like, I can't. Do not overthink this.
To be fair, he was the best Lions coach we've had in like 10 years, so...
No, it's not true. It's only true based on his winning percentage. He delivered nothing. It means nothing.
Now, you know what's so great?
We have saying like the best Lions coach. What kind of accomplishment is that?
We have our friend Stick here, who has a lot to say about Caldwell as well. So you better get. Hey, we could go all day with this Caldwell talk.
I just love how winning games is not the measuring stick. It's like now that he only had the best record of all time.
He was
That's
average.
Not good.
He wasn't great.
That's not good.
He was average. He was literally a 500 coach. He was average.
He was above 500. Pretty much the only above 500 coach in Lions history.
Yeah. And he's the only he's the only coach in NFL history with a winning record that doesn't have a division title with the Detroit Lions.
And I'm gonna play the Stafford card. All we need to do is surround him with the right pieces.
He had a quarterback. Clearly, he had the quarterback.
He had a quarterback. He did.
He had the quarterback.
And he
wanted
defense.
Eric Ebron to stick over Aaron Donald.
You don't know if he wanted him. You don't know if it was Caldwell.
That is true as day. That is reported fact.
That it was Caldwell that put his foot down?
Caldwell even said it, and so did Martin Mayhew. Martin Mayhew came out and said, yes, Caldwell pitched hard for me, for Eric Ebron. And I wish I went with my decision in wanting Aaron Donald.
If I could pitch you a coach that took the Lions to the playoffs 50% of the time, would you take that pitch?
No. Not Jim Caldwell. Not Jim Caldwell.
I didn't say Jim Caldwell. I'm talking faceless, nameless. If I'm like, Adam, the next guy we hire...
We're talking about Jim Caldwell, man.
3 out of the next 6 years, we're going to the playoffs.
Of course you'd want to go to the playoffs.
That's right, because he's a good coach.
Yeah, okay. All right, we got to go to break. When we get back, will the studies on CTE push NFL players towards early retirement? We saw this a lot, actually. Now, it wasn't reported because of CTE, but Aaron Donald potentially stepping away, even though he's come out and said, no, I want to be a part of the Rams organization moving forward. Yeah. But how much of this clinical research is going to shorten the careers of the great NFL players? I'm not talking the average ones, the good ones. I'm talking the elite of the elite who are good from day one and have a good 5, 6, 7, 8, 10-year stretch. Do they walk away early like a Barry, like a Calvin? And not only will you hold it against them? That's next, Maddie.
That is what's up next. But before we go, we need to hear about our friends at Planet Fitness.
Guys, Planet Fitness, the new studio sponsor of the Woodward Sports Network. I guess you can call this a judgment-free studio, but we'll focus on what Planet Fitness offers you. Your fitness is essential in 2022, not only your mental, but physical health. Guys, take it seriously at Planet Fitness. $0 down, $10 a month to get started today. Your fitness is essential. You can work out in a judgment-free zone, judgment-free environment. Take advantage of their special offer. Again, that's $0 down, $10 a month. Planet Fitness, guys. Check them out. Locations everywhere around the Metro Detroit area.
It took exploring 50 different formulas and hosting countless taste tests, but we believe Gypsy Vodka is the smoothest vodka on the market. Don't believe us? Ask the owners.
We're Mike and Adam Kazanowski with High Five Spirits Distillery. We're in close to about 1,200 locations throughout Michigan. We wanted to create a brand that was geared more towards freedom, love, adventure, and at the end of the day, we really wanted to tell a story that inspired other people to take risks, follow their dreams, whatever that might be.
YouTube, Woodward Sports is there. Facebook, Woodward Sports is there. IG, TikTok, Spotify, Google Play, app, radio. Woodward Sports is everywhere. Make sure you follow, like, download, and listen anywhere.
Welcome back. Thanks for joining us here on the Morning Woodward Show on the Woodward Sports Network. Guys, we have to talk about CTE and the new studies. Is that going to contribute to players retiring early?
I think it's going to be more impactful for the great players.
Yeah.
The guys that come into the league, they earn a second contract. They're one of the highest paid at their positions, and they're able to walk away after 8, 9, 10 seasons. I don't see great NFL players playing 14 outside of the quarterback position, obviously.
Sure.
But we're talking at corner, safety, linebacker, defensive line, offensive line, wide receiver. Do you see a 14, 16-year career like we used to see? I don't think that's going to be the case. I think they're becoming more educated.
Yeah.
They have options. They're making more money than ever. I think you're willing to walk away with $10 million in the bank account and live till you're 70, then walk away with 30, 35 million and live till you're about 45, 50, and I don't know, you may pull a Junior Seau, who knows. And this is something you don't know. Again, you don't know the severity of CTE. I think it can only be truly diagnosed until you're gone. And that to me is a very scary thing, and it should be very scary for NFL players. So yeah, is there a way to make the game more safe? I don't think you can make it any more safe than what it is unless you want to have the Pro Bowl every single game, which you would basically lose all your ratings in a single day. So yeah, I do see them playing less and less, especially, again, I'm going to focus on the great players, an Aaron Donald, a TJ Watt. Will he re-sign a new contract after his current one? Should he? He's the highest paid. He's got $100 million on his current contract. When that expires, he's going to get paid, what, another 40, 50, 60 million for what? 15 years off of his life, probably?
Yeah.
I just don't see very good NFL players sticking around at any position outside of quarterback for longer than 10, 11, 12 years. I think that is so much, Fish.
You guys criticize the game for being soft because of all these studies they're doing, and I'm all for player safety. Yes, you guys do. You guys blame the refs for the full body weight on the quarterback thing. They're changing the rules because of the new studies that come out.
There's a difference between tackling somebody.
Putting your body weight on them.
Yeah, no, Fish. Okay, continue.
But they're changing the rules because of all these studies that are coming out, and the fans are going nuts saying, "Oh, the game is too soft." So you gotta pick and choose.
They changed the rules to protect quarterbacks, buddy. They didn't change the rules to prevent Aaron Donald from having a car accident with, I don't know, Taylor Lewan at the line of scrimmage. That doesn't change.
They're going to change that. They're changing everything.
No, the physicality stays, just how you tackle the quarterback.
They lose the game of football if they change that. That's not a thing, and that's why I really think players are going to start walking away earlier, especially the really successful ones. Mm-hmm. And my question is, will you hold it against them? For example, Aaron Donald, 8-year pro. If he retires today, 8-year pro, 98.5 sacks, 7-time All-Pro defensive lineman. Do you hold it against him that he didn't play another 5 years and get to 130, 140 sacks and get to that upper echelon? He's already got more sacks than Warren Sapp, though. But I'm curious, and maybe Aaron Donald isn't the best example because how dominant he's been, so he can walk away and you wouldn't question it for 1 second. But what if I told you that Patrick Mahomes walked away after year 10 and only had 2 Super Bowls? Or hell, he only had 1. Would that affect your perception of Patrick Mahomes?
I guess position.
He finished his career with 50,000 yards, 335 touchdowns, 100-plus picks, 1 Super Bowl title, went to 3 Super Bowls or 2 Super Bowls. Depends who knows how many he gets to in the future. Do you hold it against these guys that walk away early? It wasn't held against Calvin, wasn't held against Barry, but again, they were hyper successful. But I feel like only the hyper-successful ones can walk away and make that decision because they're likely financially well off. They can leave 15, 20, 30, 40, 50 million on the table.
Yeah.
Are you going to hold it against them when you rank them all time? I personally don't do it with Calvin. I think Calvin is a top 3 wide receiver of all time. I don't care that Terrell Owens has better numbers. I don't care. For me, it's Randy Moss, Jerry Rice, Calvin Johnson. I don't hold it against him. But will you, and will the league become more understanding with this? I think that's where I'm going with this. Health matters, obviously, in the NFL. I mean, you take it for what it is. It's one of the, if not the most physical sport out there. But, Jeff, do you see them walking away earlier now? And will you hold it against them when they walk away in terms of their quote-unquote legacy?
I do. And I don't even think it's all just great players. I think you look at a guy like Vincent Jackson. He made 3 Pro Bowls, and he played 11 years in the NFL. I mean, not a very long time considering Calvin played 9. So he played 2 more years than Calvin. And he still passed away due to alcoholism. So he suffered from a lot of different things despite only playing 11 years. And he didn't play, as much and as consistently as other guys. So I don't think it really matters who you are. Or it definitely matters what position you play. Because if you look at a guy like Patrick Mahomes, the things he endured is going to be very different than what Calvin Johnson endured, considering he was very public about his injuries. So I think it matters. Public perception, I mean, I really don't think it should matter to anybody. But if you want to talk about public perception, a lot of it has to do with how public the player is about their injuries. Like Calvin was very public about what he was going through. And when he retired, everyone pretty much knew and had a same understanding of, listen, he suffering from a lot of injuries. He just didn't feel the same hunger going to the training camp and everything. So you got that. So I think a lot of it depends on what the player is going through, how their body's feeling. But even a guy like Aaron Donald, who hasn't been public about injuries, if you were to walk away, I don't think anybody would have an issue considering, number one, how dominant he was. But even besides that, I think the viewing on CT has just changed a little bit. Like nowadays, it's not always, why aren't you playing longer? Like if Aaron Donald hung it up, I don't think there'd be one person, at least in my opinion, that rightfully should question what Aaron Donald should do in his future. Would you like him to pile on sacks? Of course. But at the end of the day, health is important, and you're seeing it more and more with guys like, I know people are assuming Antonio Brown has CTE, but not even Antonio Brown. Vincent Jackson, like proof is a big reason why. And I don't have a problem with anybody walking away 9 years, 10 years, even 8 years. It's really when you're ready, and depending on the position you play, wide receiver more specifically, considering how much times you get hit. Maybe it's not the same for quarterbacks or defensive ends, but any time a player decides to walk away, it's
I mean,
right.
You look at wide receivers. Look at Calvin Johnson's hands.
Yeah.
Look at Braylon. Braylon works at the network. Look at Braylon Edwards' hands. I think his pinky is like over here. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, at some point, like, you got to care for your body, your mental being. And Aaron Donald's got 3 kids. So for him, his priorities are clearly somewhere
100%.
else.
100%.
Right? So it's easier for him to walk away knowing he made, obviously, a lot of money. He's financially well off. He's not one of these guys that walks around with a $3 million gold chain like, I don't know, Antonio Brown. He's not out there wasting his money.
Yeah.
What does the NFL do to protect players moving forward? I think it's really concerning for me because you don't want to see a guy who was really good walk away early. Andrew Luck, perfect example. Mm-hmm. How do we remember Andrew Luck? If Andrew Luck played 12, 14 seasons, he would be a first ballot Hall of Famer. Are you going to hold it against him that he walked away from the game?
I think you'll hold in the long run, yes. I mean, not like we're going to hold it against him.
And that's the thing is will the NFL, especially, again, you have to remember how the NFL votes for the Hall of Fame. All the players, they get in with the writers, they all sit down, and they deliberate, and they talk about each individual candidate. Are you willing to acknowledge that, okay, he stepped away for clear and obvious reasons. He was a Hall of Fame player in his day. He just didn't have the longevity. Jim Brown didn't have the longevity. I want to know what's the qualifier where a guy can step away from everything, but he's still appreciated for what he did. If Patrick Mahomes retired today, would he be a Hall of Famer? Yes or no? If Patrick Mahomes walked away from the game today, would he be a Hall of Famer? You can say yes.
Yeah, you maybe argue that.
What's the difference between him and Luck? Luck has more yards, touchdowns, etc. Oh, Mahomes has a Super Bowl. Yes, that is fair. 2 Super Bowl appearances, obviously. But when we look at guys, right? Richard Sherman, I mean, a perfect example of a guy that really doesn't think things through. Matthew Stafford, right, isn't a Hall of Fame quarterback. All right, Rich, that's fine. Whatever. I'll ignore your comment for now. But the point is, when I look back at somebody, he made a key point. Was he the best at his position or revered as one of the best in a given season? I could make the argument Andrew Luck was one of the better quarterbacks throughout his time in Indianapolis, and at least in one of those seasons was a top 3 quarterback, especially the year they went to the AFC title game. And I could make the argument this year, Matthew Stafford not only is the best quarterback this year in the NFL, but again, this is the year where he was revered or referred to as one of the best. Part of the Bradys, the Rodgers, the Mahomes. He was part of that group this year. Can't deny it. How do we remember players' careers that are shortly ended? Again, Calvin didn't have a Super Bowl, neither did Barry. Now, are they the hyper extreme example of super successful players that broke records during their days? Sure. Andrew Luck broke records. How do we remember guys that are going to choose to walk away because of their health? Do you hold it against them in Hall of Fame voting? I just want to know. It's tough for me to, because I just go and look at your sample size. You were a Hall of Fame player to me. Andrew Luck was a Hall of Fame quarterback. Mahomes retires today. He's a Hall of Fame quarterback. Allen, it's tough. It's so early for him. But I could make the argument he had the trajectory, right? If he plays another 10 seasons, he's a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
At the rate he's going. It's such a difficult conversation. It really is.
And that's what it comes down to. Andrew Luck's longevity. Like, he played 6 years. So with that being said, you look at his statistics. Like, if he would have kept going, no doubt he would have been first battle.
He would have been what, 70,000 yards passing?
Yeah, like he was on track.
Not 400 touchdown passes.
Yeah.
I mean, how much again longevity is LeBron James's when he does break Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's point scoring record? Is that more impressive than Kareem? Is that more impressive than MJ's 30 points a game average, even though his last 3 seasons or 2 seasons, he was 400 pounds playing in Washington?
Longevity, you got to look at it.
Like, longevity matters, but to what degree?
Right.
Because I could argue sometimes it's too long, like in Emmitt Smith, who broke records just because he stuck around, not because he was the greatest running back of all time.
Mm-hmm.
Is LeBron the greatest scorer of all time? Or is he the most gifted athlete in terms of longevity, being able to play the game at a high level for a long time? I don't want to discount it, but it's 2 different stories.
No, you're right. Sure. You're right.
So how are you going to hold players accountable if they do start walking away? Because I would be upset if I gave the NFL 6-7 years. Let's say I was all-pro half of it. Forget the postseason awards. I don't even care any position I play. I was revered as one of the most dominant players at my position. Are you going to hold it against me that I don't know, I don't want CTE?
Yeah.
So I walked away after 7 years? But I was clearly one of the more dominant players. I finished with 75, 80, 90 sacks. Are you going to hold that against me? Because I didn't play another 6-7 years and get another 100 sacks? That for me is the equation and really the question. It really is. And yeah, LeBron is still averaging 28 this year. I know. Don't get me wrong. This isn't a LeBron slander session, but I think context matters.
Yeah.
Is LeBron breaking the record because he's the greatest scorer of all time? No, obviously not. And that's not, again, a discredit to him.
But again,
I mean, the longevity is it's a part of the story for LeBron.
Yeah. But are you going to sit here and say MJ took 2 years off? So I'm going to, no,
it's difficult.
It's difficult.
It really is.
Like, you got to bring up everything.
Context matters. That's why Matthew Stafford has such a beautiful story and why he's being talked about the way he is right now. You know why? Because it wasn't he was Drew Brees, he got out of a bad situation, he fell into Sean Payton and the New Orleans Saints, and it all worked out after that, happily ever after. No. He was 12 years in the worst franchise in professional sports, and 1 year removed, delivered a division title, 4 playoff wins, 3 game-winning drives, a Super Bowl, and an NFC title. Are you kidding me? You can't script that. That's why he's being talked about the way he is. We got to go to the break. Top of the hour coming up. Guys, the phone lines are all available to you. 313-552-6322. Get involved in the chats. Call in. Feel free. 9 o'clock, I want to revisit the Matthew Stafford conversation. Not only where he ranks all time, but where his singular season ranks along the way as well. Where does he rank all time, given that he's the first quarterback to throw 3 touchdowns in a Super Bowl and not win Super Bowl MVP? We'll get to that after the break. Maddie?
All right, but before we go, we do need to hear about the Fulling Warehouse.
Yes, listen, guys. Well, we talk about football. I'll give you an activity you should be able to do with your friends and family. It's Fulling Warehouse in Hamtramck, home of the original football bowling pin game called Fulling. And you can host your corporate party, you can host a team building event, or you could just come in with your family and friends. 2 ways to play. You either have the $10 unlimited open play or a private lane reservation for $120 for up to 10 people for 2 hours. They have 100 beers, which Sawyer loves very much, our guy Sawyer at Woodward Sports, our $2 mystery beer machine, and multiple full bars. You bring the food or have it delivered in. Come get your full on. Check it out at fullingwarehouse.com.
Follow us everywhere. Just search Woodward Sports on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, IG, and more.
Ladies and gentlemen, Chili Pepper's Tanning Salon is where you'll find the cleanest salons in the D with spotless, sanitized rooms and trained, certified training professionals. Join the Pepper Club for all the best deals, and they'll beat your competitors by $5. Guys, check them out, Chili Pepper's Tanning Salon. I can't stress this enough. When you're as white as me, you need help, all right?
You do.
The sun can only help you so much, all right? Visit Chili Pepper's Tanning Salon. Let's get into it, guys. Let's get into it. Where does Matthew Stafford rank all time? Obviously on the quarterback list. I always struggle with this conversation because he's still playing. He's still playing. His career, his legacy, quote unquote, is still being defined, right?
Yeah.
So he still has years left. Now, do you know how many? No, of course, we all can't answer that. But when we talk about narrative, and we talk about it a lot on this show, and I always bring it up, how important it is. We talked about it with the Bengals earlier on in the season, if you recall. The Cincinnati Bengals, when they were playing the Detroit Lions earlier in the season, it was a game where, Jeff and I discussed, Cincinnati, you're top of the division right now. You don't want to blow this game. You cannot afford to lose to the Lions, who haven't won a game apparently, they hadn't won a game up until that point.
Mm-hmm.
You want to be considered a playoff team, a team that's going to be in contention. You got to be able to win the games you have to win, right? Narrative matters. Storylines matter. Headlines, right? And when I look at Matthew Stafford, in the one season, the singular season, he was away from dysfunction, chaos, awful coaching, awful front offices, average rosters at best. He puts on a 50-touchdown season, 20 interceptions, and I'm taking regular and postseason, so follow me here. Well over 5,000 yards.
Yeah.
I believe the total number was 5,700 yards, actually. Almost 6,000, actually. Excuse me. Matthew Stafford actually becomes the first quarterback in NFL history to throw for 6,000 yards in a given season, regular and postseason combined. That's a fun fact, by the way. So having said that, why am I bringing this up? Well, this is the second straight year the team that's hosted the Super Bowl has won it. Am I correct on that? So let me bring you guys all back to last season. Tom Brady.
Mm-hmm.
In the regular season, had 4,600 yards, 40 touchdowns, 12 interceptions, right?
Hell of a
It's
year.
a lot of interceptions. 12.
Yeah, 12, yeah.
And in the postseason, he delivered another 1,000 yards, along with 10 touchdowns. And those 10 touchdowns got him to a mark that is an all-time record up until this year.
Yeah.
Which is 50 touchdowns total thrown for a Super Bowl winning quarterback in a given year. Tom Brady set that record. The greatest quarterback of all time. And this year, Matthew Stafford eclipsed every single number. He goes for over 6,000 yards. He ties them with 50 touchdowns. Oh, may I mention along the way, 3 game-winning drives. And I should say 3 consecutive as well. And again, where does he rank all time when we talk about Matthew Stafford? I think you can at least acknowledge he's top 20. I think that is a fair statement to make.
Definitely.
Having said that, one of the bigger things I've noticed is how, again, if it doesn't fit my story, I won't bring it up. Guys, did you know Patrick Mahomes is a Super Bowl MVP? Are we going to argue that he's not a fantastic quarterback? What if I told you that in the Super Bowl he was 26 of 42, 286 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions in the win against the Niners. I'm not even going to bring up the performance against Tampa Bay where he got mauled. I don't think it's even worth a discussion. It's not. It's not even. It doesn't bring any value to my point. Mahomes, 286, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, wins a Super Bowl MVP. Matthew Stafford, 283 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, doesn't. Why? Because Cooper Kupp, 94 yards and 2 touchdowns. Okay. Damian Williams in that Super Bowl, the running back, over 100 yards on the ground, over 30 yards receiving through the air, more total yards from scrimmage than Cooper Kupp, and the same amount of touchdowns. But he didn't win the MVP.
I was going to say, they ain't giving Williams.
But he didn't win the MVP.
I know.
But he didn't win the MVP.
That wouldn't be the storyline they want. They want Patrick Mahomes.
I'm just saying, you have to consider these things when we talk about where does the guy rank.
100%.
And again, he's in year 13. Mahomes, Allen, Herbert, these guys are all young. Yeah. I'm not even going to entertain them in any discussion, not because they don't deserve it, but it's so young in their careers. When they're ready to walk away, we can have that conversation. Matthew Stafford entering year 14, you can start having that conversation.
Yeah.
50,000 yards. Damn near 400 touchdowns. We can talk about it. I think he's a top 20 quarterback after Sunday. And really, to be honest with you, Jeff, I don't think that's an egregious number. I don't. I think top 20 is fair.
No. Yeah, he's definitely, you look at Ben Roethlisberger, he's 19. He's right behind Roethlisberger at this point. Matt has a Super Bowl. Yes, he doesn't have a Super Bowl MVP, but he possibly does. We'll have an MVP by the end of the time he retires. He has another good 5-6 years left with the Rams. It just depends on if the Rams can keep these guys around him, which I'm assuming they will do that. They're probably going to re-sign Odell towards ACL. They're going to have Cooper Kupp back next year. Robert Woods, Tyler Higbee will be back healthy. So, Matthew, his talents aren't going nowhere, and they still have a great team around him. Despite losing Aaron Donald, it doesn't affect him offensively. So
if he's not a top 20 quarterback, what's the definition? Because I'm going to read you off NFL.com's top 25. Joe Namath at 25.
Yep.
All right?
Okay.
Dan Fouts at 24. Phillip Rivers at 23. Jim Kelly at 22.
He's in there.
Eli Manning at 21.
Yeah, he's in there.
Kurt Warner at 20.
No one can argue.
He's as accomplished, if not more accomplished, than all of those quarterbacks now, after Sunday.
More accomplished than Phillip, now.
Not only statistically, but including Super Bowl rings outside of Eli Manning.
Yep.
But we all know what you think of Eli Manning. Sammy Baugh, 1937 and 1952. Okay, that's fine. You want to rank him over Stafford at 19? Number 17, Warren Moon. Stafford's a better quarterback than Warren Moon or not? He's in the top 20.
Yeah, no doubt.
It's not even a
Bradshaw,
discussion.
Russell Wilson, and
I think
Ben
top 20 is
Roethlisberger.
fair. If I was sitting up here telling you top 10,
we'd argue.
Feel free to drive down to Woodward and smack me across the head. I have no problem with that. We're talking top 20.
Yeah, you're being
And again, that does not include a Mahomes, an Allen, the up-and-coming guys, Russell Wilson. Why? Their careers are still being defined. Even though I could argue Russell Wilson, he's on that list at, 18, 19?
Yeah.
He's number 18 on that list. Matthew Stafford is as accomplished as Russell Wilson. Same amount of Super Bowls.
Well, he's been to more, but...
Well, he's been to more, but
still.
Legion of Boom got him there, right? You want to discredit Stafford with the defense he had.
Defense, yeah. You can throw it around.
Stop making arguments with me when I can make the same thing for another quarterback that you think is better. Go ahead, Jeff.
I think with Russell Wilson especially, these two guys, you don't know where Russell Wilson's going to end up, and same with Aaron Rodgers. There's some guys that can still rewrite their legacy. For Matthew Stafford, though, he's with the Rams now. No one can doubt he's not done, and he's still going to move up. Now, by the time he's finished, I think the accomplishments are going to be there, no doubt. And talk about passing yards and all that, it'll all be there. It's just a matter of, can people realize the fact that he's probably going to slide into your top 15 if he keeps this up with another MVP. Statistics will be there. You're going to have the accomplishments. You're going to have winning, especially when he left the Lions. So, he checks all the boxes. So it's hard for me to digest anybody else disagreeing with that he's top 20. You just named off 5 in the top 20. And I
would love to know why you would take Kurt Warner over Matthew Stafford.
I'll take Kurt Warner over Stafford as of today.
Why? I'm very curious. I'm very curious. He had a higher interception rate than Matthew Stafford does. And in the postseason, Matthew Stafford has equaled, in one postseason run, all of his game-winning drives that he had in his, how many games? 13 games.
He was never
in the
available.
Postseason.
Yeah, but...
how is Kurt Warner better than Matthew Stafford?
That's a good question.
After Sunday. Before Sunday, we're not having this conversation, guys.
Bag groceries, or Stafford bag groceries like Warner?
Maybe not.
I don't want to hear it then.
Warner that.
I don't want to hear it.
Yeah,
I got to give Warner that.
This is why I want. This is why Stick drops the bombs. Like, that's a good point.
But
is Kelly Brenda? No.
Guys, okay, you want to bring up Arizona with Kurt Warner. Anquan Bolden, Larry Fitzgerald. Two of the greatest wide receivers, at least, top 25 of all time minimum?
Yeah.
I'm not sure where you want to put Bolden. It's off the top of my head right now, so. They had a very good defense that year.
Yeah,
they had an outstanding offense.
So did Matthew, and he blew him out statistically.
We discredit guys who should be winning when they have good teams, right? Well, one guy specifically. But when everybody else has good teams around them, well, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's because they're good. Even though I just told you this guy matched Tom Brady, the greatest quarterback of all time, for most touchdown passes by a Super Bowl winning quarterback in a single season.
Yeah. Matthew Stafford tied Kurt Warner's career high in touchdowns in a year this season. Like, at this point in his career's first year in
Russell
LA.
Wilson's Hall of Famer, right?
Yes.
So Matthew Stafford's a Hall of Famer.
There you go. You just answered the argument.
And again, Pro Bowls, ever since they started having fans voting in, I don't take the Pro Bowl seriously.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a bit much. It's a bit much.
Like 2 Pro Bowls for Stafford.
I think it's 3. I think 3 is the number. If
whatever
I recall.
it is. Oh, no, he's made 1 Pro Bowl. I'm sorry. One Pro Bowl. He's Super Bowl champ now.
But wasn't he a fill-in like a few times?
He probably was, but one official
I don't know
Pro
how
Bowl
they count it
elected
anymore. I really think the Pro Bowl is irrelevant. I think you look at All-Pro and then individual accolades.
Yeah.
Wasn't he a comeback player of the year?
He was.
And if you go look at his statistics, line them up against all the best quarterbacks in the NFL during those years, they're not far off.
No.
If not, they're equal. The difference, he played on a losing team, they played on winning teams.
There you go.
That's the difference. That's the difference. And you want to compare Arizona's franchise to Detroit? How? They've been to a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
They've been to multiple title games. They've won not a dozen, but multiple playoff games.
Yeah.
You want to compare the Bengals? The Bengals have been to 3 now 3 Super Bowls. The Bengals, during Matthew Stafford's career, with both the Lions and the Rams, have won 5 division titles, have made the playoffs 7 times, 6 of which were consecutive. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear the comparisons to the Lions. They are the anomaly. They are the dumpster, the lowest of the low. And that's why his story is so great. What's the difference between him and Drew? Drew got out early. Stafford got out late. Stafford delivered as much as Rodgers and Breeze, but we're just going to ignore it. Because it doesn't make sense to us right now. Because for 12 years, he was part of a losing team, and he was responsible for some of that. Absolutely true. I won't argue with you on that. But the fact that you can't see it, 1 year removed, everything he's already accomplished, he's accomplished more than you could even imagine.
Yeah.
And we're still having this conversation. It's pretty sad. It really is.
In 1 year, yeah.
It really is. Brett Favre, when he went to Minnesota, was that all Brett Favre? Was it not a stacked
People want to forget,
Jared Allen? An amazing defensive front. They had probably the 2 best defensive tackles in the NFL at that time. The best linebacking core. Come on, guys. Nobody does it by themselves. Aaron hasn't won it since he had a Clay Matthews-led defense. What? The Patrick Mahomes teams aren't super teams? Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce? Well, Adam, they drafted them. Well, dipshit, they drafted Aaron Donald, Cooper Kupp, Van Jefferson, Gaines, the defensive tackle. They drafted Cam Akers. The Rams are a built team from within. Yes, they went out and traded for Stafford. And then they acquired Von Miller and OBJ midseason. But don't tell me, when I was telling you before the season that they were going to do this, don't tell me, because you sat there and mocked and said, no, they'll choke. Stafford will throw away all the games. They won't win a division game. They won't win the division. They won't win a playoff game. Oh, he only threw 17 times against Arizona. Let's see him do it against Brady. He does it against Brady. Oh, let's see him beat the Niners. If he doesn't beat Jimmy G, well, all of it goes away. All right, he does that, leads them on a fourth quarter comeback. Well, I mean, in the Super Bowl, they got to win, right? They got the better team. No, he doesn't. Well, no, now what? Jesus Christ. Oh, my goodness. We got to go to break. When we get back, you think I'm done? I'm not. I'm not. I'm just getting warmed up. I am going to break down to you why Matthew Stafford was not only the best quarterback this year, but I could make an argument had a top 5 run for a quarterback in the playoffs. We'll get to that after the break, Maddie.
Well, before we go, we do need to hear about the sports marketing agency.
Yes. Let me tell you about our friends at the Sports Marketing Agency and SMA. Let me tell you about them. SMA has been leveraging pro athletes and other notables for a decade against the issues around mental health and substance use disorder. With the help of NFL alumni Sean Jordan and the others, you see them right there, Devin Gardner, Michael Lealy, Lomas Brown, and Braylon Edwards. They are coming to you, and they've been able to save lives and take a stand against all these issues. And soon coming to Woodward Sports, the Sports Marketing Agency podcast named This is the F Word series on fentanyl. If you are struggling with substance abuse or mental health, they are here to help. Go to, please, thesportsma.com. I repeat, it's thesportsma.com. And please tell them Woodward Sports sent you.
6 dark corners, a driveway and a patio, 5 windows that could become doors. Every house has unique security challenges. Guardian Alarm has more tech, more team, and more ways to help keep them all safe. Get a professionally designed and installed security and smart home system from Guardian Alarm. Sign up today and get a free video device. Guardian Alarm. Smart, right from the start. Call 1-800-STAY-OUT.
Woodward Sports. Missed part of the show today? Watch again on YouTube or download the podcast anywhere you listen to podcasts.
Welcome back. Thanks for joining us on the Morning Woodward Show here on the Woodward Sports Network. Also featured on the Roar on 99.1, 93.5, and 94.7 HD2. Adam, we got to talk about this. You just said before we went to break that you want to argue that Matthew Stafford had one of the best seasons for a quarterback of all time.
Absolutely. I mean, it's going to be up there. First, we can acknowledge he has thrown the most yards and tied for the most touchdowns by a Super Bowl winning quarterback all time. He's eclipsed Tom Brady in terms of yards, and then he tied him in terms of touchdown passes thrown.
Yep.
And not only that, Matthew Stafford in the fourth quarter, regular and postseason combined, had a passer rating of 123, 14 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. He was the best fourth quarter quarterback all season long. The guy that you say is a choke artist, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this season, he had 4,700 yards, 41 touchdowns. All right, that was top 5. That was top 5 in the NFL. It was only really second to Tom Brady. Tom Brady's the only guy that outdid Matthew Stafford this year. He was the only one. Everybody else below Stafford. Just in this singular year, when you look back on the 2021-2022 NFL season, Matthew Stafford was one of, if not for me, the best quarterback in the NFL that year. Not only because the postseason run. Look at the fourth quarter numbers all regular season. And obviously the postseason really stamps that mark, or that claim, I should say. But again, it's a top 5 all-time season individually, at least for Super Bowl winners. Now, you want to bring up the Brady year, 16-0, really 18-0, and then they lost, obviously. Obviously, that was probably one of the, if not the greatest seasons we've seen from a quarterback all time. Peyton Manning's, 55 touchdown season? I mean, it matters. It does matter. But this guy delivered it all and played at the level you expect a franchise guy, an elite quarterback, to play at. And again, I'll say it again, and I'll continue to remind you, just so you know very damn clearly. The story is simple. For 12 years, he was surrounded by chaos, dysfunction, front office drama, mid-season coaching decisions, coaching changes, horrible coaching, below average coaching, below average front office moves. The team thinking they were an Eric Ebron away from being Super Bowl contenders instead of, addressing the defensive line when you knew you were likely going to lose in Ndamukong Suh. That was his 12 years summed up in Detroit. And yes, for one singular year, 1 year out of 12, he had a roster in 2014. May I remind you that in 2011, he dragged one of the worst rosters in the NFL to the playoffs under Jim Schwartz. Under Jim Schwartz, I believe, yep. And that was the New Orleans game where he outdueled Drew Brees, but his defense actually let him down that game. But we don't remember that, right? We remember the game in Seattle against the Legion of Boom, right? Where he carried that team with 8 of their 9 wins coming via fourth quarter comebacks, game-winning drives by his hands. They went 9-7. He carried that dumpster team into Seattle. They obviously got rolled, but that's what you choose to remember. You don't choose to remember New Orleans. You don't choose to remember that in his first 6 seasons in Detroit, his first 6 full seasons, he was a 500 quarterback, 48-48, 3 playoff appearances. He averaged 28 touchdowns a year, well over 4,500 yards a season. But you don't remember that. You choose to forget it. And this is the ultimate slap in the face for the Detroit Lions. The ultimate slap in the face. Disregard those first 2 years, 2009, 2010. He was injured for both years. What are you going to do?
Yep.
But the years after, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15, the guy was well over 4,500 yards a season, 28 touchdowns a game, a passer rating well over 90, 48-48 was their record during that time span. And the roster wasn't good outside of 2014. What do you guys have to say for that? Really? What do you have to say? When I tell you that, yes, this is one of not only the single greatest seasons for a quarterback, but when we talk about anybody's given year accomplishments, right? Stick, please, you can give way better context on this. Because I was really young at the time. Barry Sanders.
What?
Barry Sanders. Stick.
That was a stray. He just threw at you.
Stick, what was so impressive about Barry Sanders' 2,000-yard season? Can you please remind everybody at home?
I mean, everything was impressive about it. But
he got off to a slow start.
The amount of tackles that he missed, forced people to miss. I mean, just the fact that the one interesting fact about Barry Sanders is he had more negative yard rushes than anybody else in the league. But because you would deal with those negative rushes, those -2s, -1s, because he's trying to make plays. But at the end of the day, he would always be a plus player. So that's one of the things that really stood out.
And the story mattered, right? Because the season started sick. Everyone was upset that they had a fullback in the backfield. Things weren't going great. The first 2 games, they really looked, I mean, it didn't look like Barry Sanders at all. Story matters. Headlines matter. The narrative going in. And the guy goes on in a 14-game stretch that I don't think we've ever seen outside of who? O.J. Simpson? I mean, it was unbelievable, the 14-game stretch Barry Sanders had.
Yeah, it was. He just ran through people.
And why I'm bringing that up is because you have a story with this specific quarterback where for 12 years he played for the worst franchise in NFL history. His coaches were Matt Patricia, Darrell Bevell, Jim Caldwell, and Jim Schwartz. His front office was Martin Mayhew and Bob Quinn. Rod Wood, team president Tom Luan,
accountant,
all friends of the Fords. Oh, it's the team president. He's the son of the family lawyer, the son of the accountant, or excuse me, the accountant of the Fords.
Yeah.
This is everything he had to deal with. Now, again, was he a perfect quarterback in Detroit? Absolutely not. But what you got to see in LA was when you gave him a good coach, a good GM, a good owner, a good roster, he fucking delivered. Excuse my language, Fish. I apologize. He delivered. And he delivered not only, he got you a division in a playoff game, like low standards. He got you everything. He delivered everything.
Yeah.
And just like Joe Burrow could have won the game for the Bengals, Stafford could have lost it on that final drive as well.
He could have.
Jeff, I don't really have anything else for this argument. I think it's a top 5 postseason run for a quarterback. Probably top 3, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. I would say all time it's one of the better regular season and postseason performances from a guy, given the story he came in with.
I think also context matters as well. And, your first season in LA, your 12 seasons in Detroit, very different, not only environment, different coaching staff, different teammates, a whole different system. You're going from the Detroit Lions to the West Coast and Sean McVay's offense. And yes, in the first year, you have that type of success. It definitely needs to be in the conversation as one of the best seasons ever, considering what happened, what went into it. Now, they did have a very stacked team, but at the end of the day, that's the whole point of buying in. If you're the Rams, that's the organization they are. They don't have a first-round pick by the time I'm an old man. So this team is ready to win right now, and they did just that with Matthew Stafford. And I think statistically, stats are there. And you saw, like you said, fourth quarter, 14-0. In terms of touchdown-interception ratio, he's money in the fourth quarter. So if you look at that, he's been a big reason. You could talk about Aaron Donald. He did close the 49ers game. He did close the Super Bowl. But what happened before then? It was Matthew Stafford driving him down the field.
If I may bring up this comment from Eric Minion. So, what about the year he had the number 2 defense in the league, which we already brought up, and had a 14-point lead for 3 quarters in Dallas and couldn't close the deal? Give me the referees. No, I'm not making excuses. Now, was that call egregious?
It was.
obviously.
But they had the ball
didn't
back.
Stafford have the ball
He
back?
did.
Yes, he did. And that was one of the main critiques I had of him when he actually left. Was don't forget about 2014. You had an opportunity still. I don't want to hear excuses, not only from the quarterback, but that ballsless of a head coach you had. I don't want to hear it. 4th and 1, you don't go for it. I don't want to hear it. They can't make excuses for 2014. 1 year out of 12. 1 year out of 12.
That's the argument.
Eric. That's the point.
Yeah.
For 1 year, you had everybody in the city bought in for one, and you had him for 12 seasons. That's the point, Eric. That's always been the point.
You got to look at the big picture.
That's always been the point. We got to go to break. When we get back, God, this is going to be a painful conversation. The ideal timetable for the Detroit Pistons to start contending. Troy Weaver came out and gave an amount last night. I don't know how I feel about it. I'm ready to pull out my hair, Maddie.
I'm not sure any of us feel great about it, but we do got to go to break. But before we go, can we please hear about Lady Jane's?
Yes, guys, let's be honest, and you see it right now. I got a haircut, looking fresh, and I know you guys can do the same thing. Go to Lady Jane's, and if we're being honest, we all like simple stuff as men, and we also like football 5 days a week. So it is sad. Super Bowl's over, no more football, but I will tell you this. Lady Jane's, haircuts for men. You can walk in, you sign in, you sit down, and before you know it, you're handsome and clean. Get to your nearest Lady Jane's. They are open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. You walk in anytime because it is wicked awesome.
Life is full of hard choices. We're here to make one of life's biggest decisions as simple as possible. My name is Christina Gennari, and for over 20 years, I've helped hundreds of families buy and sell homes. We cover all of Metro Detroit and more, from large luxury homes to starter homes. We will work hard to make sure that you get the home of your dreams. So if you're in the market today or even thinking about buying or selling in the future, make the obvious choice. Christina Gennari, the obvious choice in real estate. Visit us at soldchristina.com today.
Putting on a show here, and that's how you answer. We love our sports. We just wish they'd love us back. Detroit sports for Detroit sports fans. Woodward Sports.
Welcome back. Thanks for joining us on the Morning Woodward Show here on the Woodward Sports Network. Always don't forget to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, TikTok, Facebook, and Twitch. Download our Woodward Sports app on Apple and Google. And don't forget to also download our podcast wherever you may listen, whether that's Spotify, Apple, Google Podcasts, or Amazon Music. All right, guys, we're switching gears back to the Pistons.
Yeah.
What do you think about that timetable?
I get what he was saying. I don't think he legitimately was saying it's going to be less than 5 years, like it's going to be around 5 years. I think he's just saying, listen, guys, like be patient, but at the end of the day, I know what I'm doing. And this isn't going to be a 5-year dragged-out rebuild, at least my perspective. This team has landed a lottery pick already. They got the #1 overall pick. They got their superstar. They got Cade Cunningham. And this year, you're expecting him to do something similar. You're going to land a top 2, if not 3 pick in the lottery this year, and assuming Troy Weaver will sign the right guys in free agency. I'm not talking about signed stars. I'm talking about signed guys that fit. And we've talked about it plenty of times on the show. They need size. They need shooting. And you got some of that with Marvin Bagley, but they still need shooting. That's a big piece of this team that's missing. You got to have guys that can knock down shots when Cade gets them the ball. And adding shooting more size, they can get a package for Jeremy Grant possibly, add another solid player. This team should easily start making strides next year. And this is why I've always said Dwayne Casey, as much as I want to sit here and critique Dwayne Casey, I'm going to wait and do so till next year because he'll have enough next year to at least show something. Now, are you going to, win 45 games, 50 games? Hell no. But at least you're not going to win 12, 15, 20 games, at least expectation-wise. He better not. And although I can't tell you when they're going to win an NBA championship, nobody can. I will tell you this. If you have a player like Cade Cunningham on your roster, along with your team having a clear direction, so superstars, when they hit free agency or when they're available for trade, they see the direction your team's going, guys are going to want to play with Cade Cunningham. It is clear. Like the more he develops and turns into that superstar we know him to be, he clears 20 points a game, and he's taken over Detroit. Players are going to want to come play with him. Not only is he unselfish, but he's a great player. He's a great leader. So I think it'll all work itself out. It really has a big part of it is who does Troy draft in the draft this year? Because you're going to have a top 3 pick. You're going to have to hit on the next guy. And, you're going to have to get some luck in trades and free agency. But 5 years, it is long. I mean, I would expect this rebuild to be jump-started next year to the slightest bit. You're going to add more talent. You're going to have another lottery pick. And I trust Troy Weaver's talent evaluation. He's shown me thus far he can identify talent. Yes, you drafted Isaiah Stewart instead of Desmond Bane. Yes, you drafted Killian Hayes over Tyrese Halliburton. But he's hit on other guys. He's not going to hit on every single single draft pick. He's hit on Cade, and that was a big decision. Will he go Jalen or Cade? He made that right decision, and I trust him this year. I could give it this year coming up. Next season should be the jump start. You should jump in it. We talk about over on the 25 games. That's next year. If you don't win more than 30 games, Dwayne Casey's on his way out. So I would wait till next year to really start the judge this team and how they perform, but no doubt, Adam, 2 to 3 years, this team should be back on track.
I don't think you can put an appropriate amount of years, and I'll tell you why. Because in the NBA, if Cade Cunningham plays at the level, let's just say year 2 Luka Doncic did, year 2 Trae Young did, well, this is a 7-8 seed automatically. The NBA, you turn it around like that when your guy is the guy, right?
Right.
Now, Jeremy Grant, that's a whole different problem I'm not ready to really accept right now, but I'm willing to look past it. Let's say you get a Chet. Let's say you get a Jabari Smith. I mean, 3 years for what? Now, I expect year 1, which is basically next year, it's a much better product than what I'm seeing right now. And look, I don't mind if you lose 55, 60 games, but Jesus Christ, at least look like you know what you're doing.
Yeah, you can't get blown out.
At least show me you know how to play basketball. There's one basketball on the court. Learn to share it.
Yeah.
Learn to create space for each other. They don't do any of that right now, and that's what pisses me off the most. I don't mind the losing. I am totally bought into the Troy Weaver rebuild. But you can't deliver a product like that when you have a young star point guard like him. Doesn't add up. Jeremy Grant keeping him doesn't add up. You were losing games regardless. And I could argue he makes your team worse, so maybe it was the right move. You're guaranteeing yourself maybe a number 1, number 2 pick. It doesn't add up for me. It really doesn't. I don't like it at all. I don't like it one bit. In the NBA, you can become a playoff team in 1 season. You just need the guy to become the guy.
Yeah.
LeBron year 2 took the Cavs to the playoffs.
But, yeah, that is...
Trae Young year 1, playoffs. Trae Young year 2, playoffs. Or, excuse me, year 2 Trae Young, playoffs.
Yeah.
Luka Doncic year 2, playoffs.
Here's the thing, though. There's differences with those players because Luka Doncic is obviously generational.
What's Cade Cunningham supposed to be?
He ain't those guys yet.
What is he supposed to be
Luka
by year 2?
Came out... That guy, I would expect him.
If he's that guy by year 2,
yes,
you're in the damn playoffs.
Yeah. Listen, there's a difference. Like, and I'm talking about, you could talk about playoff contention. And playoff contention.
Contention, not contenders.
Okay. Then, to your point, no reason. I mean, next year, you should be in that conversation.
You're a 30-win team next year. Minimum. Minimum after this offseason. Minimum. Sorry. 28.5 if you want to look at Vegas's over-under, maybe. I don't care. When you have the guy, and he is the guy, you should be able to win basketball games. Put players around him that he can make better, and they make him better.
Yeah.
Not hard. Really not that hard. Now, contention for an Eastern Conference Finals appearance, an NBA Finals, we're talking 5-6 years.
Yeah.
Because you need these guys to enter their primes. You need them to enter their primes.
Yeah.
And in the NBA, the average time it takes a superstar to develop 6.5 years.
I know.
So it's going to be a minute, Detroit, before you're hoisting a Larry O'Brien trophy. But contention? Why the hell not next year?
And you know
it's the NBA.
You know what I'm smelling too, a little bit in the air, is Dwayne Casey in Toronto made the Eastern Conference Finals. They fired him. They brought in Nick Nurse. They won the finals. Obviously, they had Kawhi Leonard, but even after that, he won Coach of the Year. Do you kind of smell something similar with this team where you're going to have Dwayne Casey maybe lead these guys to playoff contention, be in that conversation, and then all of a sudden just bring in the next guy, and then there's that jump?
I have a baseball bat ready at home. And when the Pistons are ready, I'm expecting Troy Weaver to call the show and tell me, Adam, your services are requested. They're going to take Dwayne Casey into an alley in downtown Detroit.
I love
And
Dwayne.
I'm going to hit that mother effer in the back of the head.
I love him.
I'm going to put him in a nice suitcase. I'm going to lock him into a big, large wooden case, or a crate, I should say. I'm going to bolt it real tight, and I'm going to ship his ass to Madagascar.
Right. Hold up.
Remember when we talked about not telling people how you were going to murder other people?
Look, I already got like 50 years worth of jail time if
just
somebody
fish threats.
investigated me, all right?
Yeah, just fish threats. You got like 50
I
years.
could be tried for hate crimes probably with some of the stuff I've said on this show, especially when I bring up dictators, which we're not going to do this morning.
You know you want to.
No, I don't. Not today.
No, but
I really don't want to get canceled. Anyways, back to the show. I want to ask Stick this question because Stick is a huge Cade guy. I think we all are, to be honest.
Who isn't?
I don't think that's a problem. But Stick, you always have this, I wouldn't say argument, but conversation with me. What the Pistons needed to do before 2004 and how they got there and how they needed to learn how to win.
100%.
When I talk about playoff contention, that's what I mean. I mean a team 30 to 40 wins, maybe getting in a year or two, learning the hard way in the first, second round if they get lucky to get to the second round. But, Stick, you're not getting a prime Cade Cunningham until year 5, year 6. I mean, it's going to be a minute, man.
Yeah, I think he's ahead of the curve already, though. Like, I think we may see a prime Cade Cunningham maybe year 3, but yeah, he's not going to be fully developed to them. And especially right now with him being the only damn thing on the Pistons that's working, he's getting all the attention on defense. So they need somebody else. But to your point, like before 2004, you know, we had to go through the John Barry era. We had to take our lumps in the playoffs and learn how to win. And it's a little different back then than what the Pistons have been doing recently in the playoffs and getting bounced in the first round with an old-ass team. Like that old team, there was no hope for. You want these young guys to get the experience, to learn how to handle those pressure games, and that's only going to help their growth exponentially. So I was hoping they'd make the playoffs this year. I thought adding Cade to last year would have made it happen, but hell,
worse.
Dude, I've had this conversation with so many people. I enjoyed watching last year's team so much more than I enjoy watching this year's team because last year's team, they lost the same amount, but they were competitive and showed heart in every game. I don't see that this year.
They had a lot more chemistry last year, too.
And what do you make of that, Stick? Like, number one, you have not only a similar team, but you have Sadiq better, you have Isaiah better, and arguably you have Hamidou Diallo now. Like, what the hell is the regression? What are your thoughts on Dwayne Casey? Like, can we get that out of the air? Because
I like Dwayne Casey. I think he's building a good culture in Detroit, you know, with the G League team and all that. I think the main difference is, and as much as we don't want to admit it, the veterans helped last year. Derrick Rose helped last year. Blake helped last year. Mason Plumlee helped last year.
He did.
And we played the whole season without pretty much Kelly Olynyk so far. He was supposed to be the veteran leadership. So we're just kind of rolling the ball out there with a bunch of young guys, and it's showing how young they are.
Yeah.
Yeah,
no, he's absolutely right.
When it comes to Dwayne Casey, I mean,
I'm like split. I love
I'm
Dwayne.
not even ready to have that conversation because it's just not going to be nice. And I think he's a gentleman, by the way. I mean,
He's
when
a
he
great
came
guy.
to the studio and did an interview on the morning show, I mean, really before the football season started, he was an unbelievable man. Great character. So I'm just going to reserve my comments for him a little bit.
But what do you expect Casey to do with this lineup?
You know
where
what?
do you
I
expect them to be?
at least play competent you know, Stick. You know what they say in the NFL. This is the best example I can give you, and tell me if this makes sense. In the NFL, when you hire the offensive guy, you expect to see a difference on offense. Now, you may lose a lot of games, but the offense is like, it's working, it's functional. When you hire the defensive guy, you expect the defense to take a little bit more of a step forward, even if you're losing games.
And you got neither.
And with Casey, I'm not getting really anything right now, outside of the losing.
But they don't have size. I will give them that. They're lacking size.
Look,
Maybe
it's
if they
not
had
the
a
most
bit-
talented team, don't get me wrong, but they don't play a certain way.
They just don't play hard. It looks on some nights. Like, they don't look like they want to be there.
It's
at all.
iso ball, man. It's
Yeah,
iso ball. I mean, I don't know what
But
else
again,
to say.
I could see. I mean, 6 Point is like I've been preaching all year. Is they are a very young team, a very not talented team. They're one of the worst teams on paper in the league. So expectations might be a little high. We're obviously biased a little bit, but I'm waiting next year. Next year is the year for me to decide Dwayne Casey's job. I'm going to wait.
Can we just get Diallo more minutes?
He was starting for a
Killian
period.
Hayes.
He
Take
was-
Killian Hayes. Buy him a nice poutine. All right.
Poutine.
Put him in a nice Amazon crate. All right, and ship him back to France.
Can you get me
and
his
just forget
poutine?
it ever happened. Just forget it ever happened.
Can I have his poutine?
Sure, I'll buy you one fish.
Oh, wait.
Fair?
Fish loves poutine.
Oh,
All right, let's go to break.
incredible.
When we get back,
Best food in the world.
when we get back, some news in college football that I think is extremely interesting. Luke Fickell signs an extension at Cincinnati, and obviously I have a few very aggressive and bold things to say about that. But furthermore, Michigan football going into the season, I think the fans are looking at really what they're doing in the total wrong way. And not only what they're doing, what they accomplished, Maddie.
All right, well, we'll talk about that when we get back. But before we go, we need to hear about Cintron.
Oh, I can tell you about Cintron because I'm drinking one right now. It's absolutely delicious. Cintron World is an aspirational lifestyle beverage brand with a line of sparkling flavored energy beverages, premium bottled water, and revitalizer shots. Cintron is the official energy drink of the Red Wings, proud partners with the Detroit Pistons, and exclusively served at Little Caesars Arena. If you are looking for premium ingredients, long-lasting energy, balanced hydration, essential vitamins, and great taste, Cintron is your top choice. You can buy online now at cintronworld.com. Use the promo code RedWings10, and you can save 10% with shipping included. Remember, drink it, live it with Cintron.
Hi, my diamonds. It's Crystal with an X. You want to get hot and perfect like me? Here's my super easy routine. Drink at least a gallon of water before you wake up. Attach a weight to everything in your house.
Hello?
Sell your car and just sprint everywhere. Scream when you exhale.
Don't follow Crystal with an X. Do your own thing at Planet Fitness with tons of equipment and free fitness training in our clean and spacious clubs. Join now for just $10 a month and cancel anytime.
What's the over-under? Should I tease? Who is the lock of the night? Make sure you're watching Woodward Bets to get the latest in sports betting and more. Woodward Bets daily on Woodward Sports.
Welcome back. Thanks for joining us on the Morning Woodward Show here on the Woodward Sports Network. Guys, we have to talk about an extension. Luke Fickell.
Okay.
Luke Fickell.
I want to address it for a few minutes. Look, I know this isn't Michigan State, but it matters to me because I think this is the worst thing Cincinnati could have done. And I'm going to tell you why. And not Cincinnati, more so Luke Fickell. Your stock was the highest it could possibly be. You didn't interview for any big-time program? You don't want to be Brian Kelly, man. And you're going to the Big 12, by the way, Cincinnati.
Family.
So you're not walking through a cakewalk schedule anymore. You're going to the Big 12, and when you win 7 games this year, or 5 games this year, and then 6 the following year, and 5 the next year, and then you fire Fickell, then what? I don't like it. I don't like it for Luke Fickell, to be honest. I think he's an okay coach. I wouldn't hire him if I'm a big-time program. I mean, we saw how it worked out at Ohio State. Some guys are just meant to coach up less than work with more.
Right.
I'm okay with that. I have no
he
problem
might be
with that.
content.
And look,
he's never had to
good
leave
for
Ohio.
them, but I really think it's a disaster move. They're going into the Big 12. Your stock was the highest it could be. You only got a 5-year extension? A 5-year commitment? That's not even 2 full... That's not even 2 full academic years or scholar years for your seniors from 2 classes.
It says through 2028, yeah, so.
Come on. I'll tell you what. I want to bring... I brought this up really so I can transition really to Michigan football.
Okay.
Michigan football, you just accomplished something you haven't done since 2004. Winning the Big Ten is a big deal. Getting to the college football playoff is an accomplishment. Now, are you happy with the way you went out? Absolutely not. Not what you want to see. Not at all. But Michigan fans, take a step back for 1 second, please. Now, you want to give me the Harbaugh's flirting with the NFL? All right, fine, whatever. That's fine. You can hold that grudge if you want. I don't really care for that right now. But what I will say is that you're looking at this the total wrong way. You're looking at it through the wrong lens. What you need to look at Michigan football right now is, oh my goodness, we witnessed history this year. What does next year look like? How do we build on it in 2, 3, 4 years where we can consistently be pushing for a college football appearance? And not only a college football playoff appearance, winning the Big Ten, competing for the Big Ten. You're in Columbus to end the season this year. You're home to MSU. That's some tough games this year. 8 home games, though. You can't tell me, or you can't convince me, that by the Ohio State game, Michigan aren't a 10-win team by then. And that they don't walk in there with a chance to just beat Ohio State head-to-head and get to another Big Ten title game. I see so much negativity. I see so much lack of pessimism in regards to Michigan. Now, look, if Cade McNamara is the quarterback, I may jump off the Ambassador Bridge. I might join you. But that's a different conversation. Yeah. I truly believe Michigan fans really, 1, aren't appreciating the moment enough. And maybe I'm a bit much this morning. And 2, I don't think they think enough of their coach. I don't think they believe in Harbaugh still. I still don't think they're sold, and I haven't seen the big contract extension. I haven't seen the 10-year commitment. I'm not sure what's going on in Ann Arbor. I'm really not.
And do you think is it belief or is it like a little ill will towards maybe his decision making? Is it a little bit of both, like just belief in him in general?
You know, if there was an employee here that worked at Woodward Sports, and they went and flirted around with FS1 or ESPN, and nothing really ever came about it, and they were arguably the best employee we had in the last 30 years, and most accomplished.
If you put it like that, then.
Well, then you know,
be good.
It would be very difficult for me to be like, oh, yeah, I'm upset with you for weighing your options. We talked about this earlier with NFL players and CTE.
Right.
You're making more money than ever. You have more options now. You can think about raising a family at 36. You can talk about raising a family at 30.
Mm-hmm.
You can talk about as a coach raising a family at 36 and walking away like Sean McVay. Why? You have options. You're financially well off. That is today's game. What's the difference? He had options. He explored them. It wasn't what he thought it was. You move on. And you accept them with open arms. Not because you can't find anything better or you want to replace him because you don't like him. No, he's damn successful for you. I don't know how else to pitch Michigan fans that they got the right guy.
Yeah.
I really don't.
I'm not going to disagree with you. I mean, especially the year they had this year. Yes, you're losing a lot of those guys, but he's the best coach you've had. So why would you want to push him out the door just because he flirted with some NFL jobs? I mean, listen, you're probably not going to beat Ohio State this year, but I could tell you that. So it's like, just check your expectations this year for Michigan. That's the big thing. Like, you're going to have J.J. McCarthy at quarterback, hopefully.
I hope so.
You better. You damn better. And the rest will just figure out itself. I think Jim, it's going to be interesting to see what he does with all the players he's losing this year. I think that's the most exciting part of it all, to be honest. And the game against Michigan State, which we're all going to, I cannot wait to talk about, which will be great. But, man, Jim, it's interesting. The narrative of Jim.
And
it's
Jim's got decisions to make.
He does.
JJ, look, I know Cade is nice. I know he does the little things right. You're going to need a J.J. McCarthy this year. One, to get through that schedule, and two, beat Ohio State.
Yeah, overcome your deficiencies.
If you think you're going to run for 300 yards, control the line of scrimmage, Aiden Hutchinson get to C.J. Stroud 15 times. Oh, wait, he's not on the team next year. Good luck.
Mm-hmm.
What you look again? I was at the game in Ann Arbor for this year against Ohio State. What they did that day was special. It really was. It was a special day. Having said that, you can't repeat that next year. You won't be able to. That is not a repeatable process. You want to play that way for another 10 years, you won't beat Ohio State for another 10 years. That I'll guarantee you. Michigan's got to move on. They have to adapt. Gaddis gone. McDonald gone.
Yeah.
A lot of decisions to be made.
A
lot of question marks up in the air.
Mm-hmm.
But look, man, I think they got the right coach. I really do. I really think Jim Harbaugh is a damn good coach.
And I like the assistants he's bringing
I think the criticism was fair, but you couldn't argue even when he didn't have a Big Ten title under his belt, when he didn't beat Ohio State yet. Even then, he was more successful than the Hoks, than the Rodriguezes, and really than the Carrs up until Carr won the Big Ten. Obviously, Carr, I mean, don't get me wrong, Lloyd Carr's a legend. Shared Natty, Big Ten titles. Like, that's not a thing with me, obviously. I'm not trying to compare the two prior. But when you watch what your program was and what it is now in terms of brand awareness, elevation in terms of respect in the AP polls.
10 wins a year.
Jim Harbaugh brought Michigan back to where it wanted to be.
Mm-hmm.
So don't be the greedy kid reaching your hand in the cookie jar again after you just had a cookie. When in reality, he's already brought you back even before last year. Even before last year. So we got to go to break. When we get back, guys, you know what time it is. It's mailbag time. Call in 313-552-6322. We'll take questions in the chat and through the phone. Oh, my goodness. Final 12 minutes, Jeff. You ready for this?
Oh, I'm so ready.
All right, let's go to break. Again, when we get back, mailbag time. Guys, you got a lot of questions? Ask them. But, Jeff, could you please do us all a favor? Ask about Guardian.
I can tell you about a great defense. If we talk about defenses in college football, well, Guardian Alarm, one of the best defenses I've ever experienced in Guardian Alarm. They get it. Good defense on and off the field helps you feel secure. And not only that, Guardian Alarm has state-of-the-art technology that helps you feel secure, all with 24/7 local monitoring. Guardian Alarm also has convenient features that lets you check in on your home and control lights and temperatures. You can detect smoke or carbon monoxide. It will even let you lock and unlock doors. Call 800-STAY-OUT today. You hear fish. That's 800-STAY-OUT.
Stay out. Get away.
Guardian Alarm has been trusted for over 90 years at keeping families safe.
You don't have to go to the beach, man. You don't have to get your butt crack full of sand. You just need a little chili peppers, man, to get that glowing beach chili peppers.
Monday, February 21st from 11 to 1 p.m. Join Woodward Sports and Big D Energy for the grand opening of the Berkeley Chili Peppers Tanning on Woodward between 11 and 12 Mile. Come hang and join the Pepper Club. Best deals on unlimited tanning.
You just need a little chili peppers, man.
We've hoped for, finally.
He's going deep, right side. Oh, that is Edwards out there. He goes up in the air at the goal line.
Hey, it's Brandon Edwards here, wanting to welcome the sports marketing agency to Woodward Sports Network, to the family. Glad to have you guys. For the last decade, the sports marketing agency has literally leveraged athletes around issues such as mental health and substance abuse.
Opinions are like ear holes, and we're putting ours in yours.
Well, that's not winning, Joy.
It's Woodward Sports.
All right, welcome back to the Morning Woodward Show here on the Woodward Sports Networks. Before I get to the phone callers, I want to answer one question that was brought up. It was a great question, and it was a comparison. Do you agree with the comparison made, by the way, regarding Matthew Stafford by Charles Barkley? Or excuse me, by Stafford and Charles Barkley. Barkley is a top 50 player of all time, but with one ring, he's in the top 15 discussion.
Yeah.
Do we feel the same about Matthew Stafford? I think it's a great discussion. And the problem is, though, there is one comparison that you can't make. And I think their stories are totally different. The thing with Charles is Charles made the finals. He won MVPs.
He had multiple chances.
Carried, and again, different sports where the individual can be more, let's say, praised. But Charles could never win it, right? And that was always his thing.
It was usually because of his fault, too.
And let's not. I'm not going to blame for losing to Jordan. But anyways, regardless
no,
of
not
the
in the
point,
finals. Just continue. Just
to
longevity.
Be fair, yeah, to
just
be
longevity.
Fair. But
yeah.
I like the comparison of if you gave Charles a ring, would you elevate him? If Marino had a ring, you think people put Otto Graham?
No.
Drew Brees
the ring
over him?
matters.
Hell no.
The ring matters.
So it plays a factor in conversation when we talk about legacy. And I think it's a good. I think it's a good comparison. The problem is Stafford's story is so much different. He dealt with chaos, dysfunction, and the worst organization in the NFL, literally all time, for 12 seasons. Mm-hmm. Out of the 12 seasons, he had one season where you could actually look and say, "Hey, how did you not win a division or win a playoff game?" One of 12 years. He leaves for 1 year, delivers everything possible outside of a Super Bowl MVP and a regular season MVP. Wins the Super Bowl, wins the division, 4-0 in the playoffs, 3-game winning drives. You guys know the rest.
Yep.
Sets the record for most yards in a single season, regular and postseason combined. The first to ever throw for over 6,000. Tied with Tom Brady for the most touchdowns with 50. I just think they're two different conversations. I really do. Stephen Baffy, good comment. Stafford not top 15 in my opinion, but again, neither is Ben Roethlisberger or Eli Manning.
No, not top 15.
You know what? They're pushing it. And again, guys, please, when we talk about the top 20, top 15 right now, I don't want to hear Mahomes, Allen, none of these guys. You want to bring up Russell Wilson? Sure. Because, he's getting up there in age. But when we talk about guys that have 8, 9, 10 years left in their career, I'm not even going to consider them because the way I evaluate a guy is when he retired, how was he remembered? Brett Favre is the first ballot Hall of Famer because when he walked away, he owned every single record. Drew Brees, Hall of Famer because when he walked away, he had a majority of the records. What will Matthew Stafford be? When he walks away, he'll likely be top 5 in all the major categories.
Mm-hmm. You don't know
he's already a Super Bowl champion, could be a multiple Super Bowl champion,
could have accolades,
could have an MVP, could have an offensive player of the year. Who knows? Again, he still has a few years left, so it's hard to talk about a guy that's still playing, but I think it's worth a conversation.
Definitely.
Let's get to a caller. I believe we have Anthony on the line, Fish. Anthony, how are you doing this morning? What's your question, buddy?
It's a rough morning. I do got a question. I'm getting a little feedback on the I can hear my voice. Whatever, I'll make it work. Anyways, been around 24 hours. I got a question, but I just want to fill you guys in. Yesterday, I called into work and told them I wasn't coming in, and needless to say, showed up today. My key card did not work, so they canned my ass, kicked me to the curb.
Was it worth
got
it?
Me to the wolves. I don't know. I was designing, Wilson tennis rackets.
Yep, I do.
I was designing the grips, trying to figure out how to make the grips on the rackets, improve those. So I can't say it was something I was passionate about. I'll figure it out, though, whatever. Let's just say, needless to say, I know where my boss parks his car, and I wouldn't be surprised if he finds a potato or something in his tailpipe. Anyways, I do have a question.
All right.
Why, and this is for anyone, why is anyone, Matt Stafford is the best quarterback. I'd like for someone to tell me why he's not. Why is Matt Stafford not the best quarterback of all time ever?
All right, well,
hold on.
Anthony, I'll break it down for you. One, he's not. Tom Brady is. There's a plethora of quarterbacks that are going to be above him. I appreciate the call, by the way, Anthony, but I'll answer your question. Matthew Stafford is still playing right now.
Yeah.
He's only got one Super Bowl, and again, it's a big accomplishment, but he still has a whole 3-4 seasons ahead of him. Who knows how long he wants to play. But Tom Brady's the greatest of all time. 7 Super Bowls, 10 Super Bowl appearances, multiple MVPs, multiple Super Bowl MVPs. Like, it's just not even a thing. Look, I look, as much of a Stafford supporter as I've been, that's a bit much for
I'd
me.
want to know what's your argument, Anthony. Well, if you think he's the number one, I just want to hear it. It would be interesting.
Yeah, sure. Well, first of all, I don't know who the hell Adam's talking about. Second of all, Stafford, just when you see his face, it's kind of just like, whoa, my whole body just melted. And you can't really show me a quarterback in the NFL who has that effect on people. I mean, my whole body melts head to toe like the Wicked Witch of the West once he gets a bucket of water dumped on him.
Yeah, but I feel like, it's like when you're a teenager. It's like when you're a teenager, Anthony, and you're trying to get some for the first time.
Yeah.
The first time it happens, you're like, oh my God, this is the greatest thing ever. And then you have it, with another chick or dude, depends who you are, multiple times, and then you're like, oh, all right, like that's it. Like, it's not doing much for me. It doesn't do much until you have a different person, then another different. I mean, I don't even want to get into this, but Anthony, thank you so much for the call.
Thank you, Anthony.
Can we get the next caller on, please? All right, who do I have the pleasure of speaking to this morning?
Good morning, this is Adam.
Hey, Adam, how you
how's
doing,
it going?
buddy? Hope you're doing great. Adam, what is your question this morning?
Okay, so I'm probably looking down this road way too much. But what would you guys say would the Lions have to do to get the correct pick in the draft?
In terms of who they
Since we are
select
number
or just where they select?
Where they select.
Where they select? Well, they're not in control of that right now. Right now, we know they have the number 2 overall pick. But unless, again, a team is going to be willing to give up the farm to trade up 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 slots, I don't expect the Lions to be moving. And again, even if they wanted to move, who's going to want to move up in a draft class where there's no Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert? Well, that's not the quarterback class this year, so it's gonna be tough for me to say that the Lions are going to be able to move back. I think they stay put at 2. I don't see a trade out there that makes sense. If I'm the Giants, I'm picking 5 and 7.
Yeah,
I'm not giving up that pick.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm the Jets, I'm not giving up 2 top 10 picks, and etc. With Philly, I'm just not giving up an abundance of talent for one player that I may miss on depending who I select.
Right.
I hope that answers your question, Adam.
It does, and the best thing we can do right now is start looking at our mock drafts.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, it's mock draft season. Super Bowl's over. You're probably going to be getting mock drafts weekly from us here on the morning show. Adam, thank you so much for calling in. All right, guys, 9:59, time to wrap up the show. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. Beautiful Tuesday. I hope you all enjoy your Tuesday. Thank you again. Make sure before you leave the YouTube channel, you shoot us a like. It helps the channel a lot, helps the growth of the network. Obviously, thank you guys again. Can't thank you enough, Stick. Thanks for filling in for Alex Westphal this morning. You were great. Fish, thanks for being yourself every day.
The man, Stick.
Appreciate all of you.
Is that
You
a
guys-
good thing or a bad thing?
I don't know yet. I
Okay,
haven't decided.
bad. All right, cool.
I
Got
haven't
it.
decided. You all have a great Tuesday. We'll see you tomorrow. Jam-packed show tomorrow. I'm excited. Wednesdays, we'll probably actually do a mock draft tomorrow, so I'm going to have some fun.
Do it.
I can't wait. We'll see you guys. Take care.